Today is Friday the 13th, the most feared day on the calendar. And tonight, a thriller is sure to unfold. Carlton and Collingwood have haunted each other for years. Whenever they meet, skeletons rattle. Ghosts and ghouls will arise. Losing tonight will cause nightmares.
Wonderful Collingwood. What a goal! Gets through. It's the goal. Still Aaron. Runs towards goal. It's a chance. It's as good as you'll ever see.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Thomas breaks away from 50 metres out. Launches a long ball.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood.
Carlton versus Collingwood. This is Friday the 13th football.
Does it get sweeter than that?
How about that for a sight? The MCG will be pulsating very shortly, although we've got to say Collingwood are late. They should be on the ground, but maybe they're unaware they're the away side tonight. The Magpies, brave in round one, lacklustre in round two, but they did win against the Tigers. They get some experience back tonight. Maxwell, Wood, Wellingham makes their side certainly look better on paper. There's the coach, Nathan Buckley. He knows about this rivalry. So Collingwood and Carlton just about set to rock and roll at the MCG on a Friday night. But first things first, we've got to get the Magpies out there and waiting their turn, the Blues. We've seen this side twice already this season. I have to say they're most impressive. And the boys talking about those respective midfields, two powerhouses, you get the feeling that's where the game will be won and lost tonight. But so many cameo roles could decide it as well. Often we get an unlikely hero. I would imagine the Magpies may have to pass around the hat later tonight. They'll be fined, I would think, for getting out there so late. Locked away for some time. Nathan Buckley, I'm sure, making a few more salient points. The week wasn't long enough. These two sides drew 88,000 to their round three clash last year. And we're told today, standing room only, as Collingwood arrive for a game they need to win. Number 23, young Chief, still holding down full back. That's a good sign. A youngster who's emerging. Nathan Buckley is standing by. Let's go down to him now live with Tom Harley.
Thanks very much, Dennis. Now, Nathan, you had the boys in the room. So what was the final message?
Oh, just we're going to put Carlton to the sword. We believe in the intensity that we're able to bring in a game of footy, and we've got to bring it from the first siren and take it to the obviously quarter time and then assess from there.
Sherrod Willingham comes in after a couple of weeks out, club imposed. How's his form and fitness?
Well, his fitness is great. He's probably in the best shape physically that I've seen him for his time at the club. So physically he's ready to go. The football touch will be a question mark, but we're pretty confident we've been able to get enough into him.
And the captain, Nick Maxwell?
Yeah, look, he thrives on these occasions. He's a calming influence on the group. I think it's pretty easy to get over-aroused in games like this, but you know, we need to be intense, but at the same time very composed.
Good luck tonight, Bucks.
Interesting to note as a player, Nathan Buckley played more games against Carlton than any other club, 25 of them. 3 changes for the Magpies then. The captain is back. I mentioned Keefe at fullback, but obviously that midfield. Swan, Pendlebury, Ball, Thomas inside bottom. Will they meet their match tonight? That remains to be seen as we await the arrival of the Blues.
They are keeping us waiting, Dennis, aren't they? But
gamesmanship, Bruce. It's gamesmanship. It's a spooky night. Perhaps they're a little afraid to go outside.
Gee, their form's been good, but it's been against lesser teams, hasn't it?
It has. What about that opener, Bruce? I needed a nose double.
Well, Logies are on Sunday night. It's not too late. I think you're a chance.
I scared myself. Chris Judd scares opposition teams. He and Mark Murphy have started the season in blistering form. They've won 2 out of 2, but it's the way they've done it. They're all about speed. The combinations have been very slick. Eddie Betts there. 2 spectacular marks last week. Eddie doesn't do run-of-the-mill. Chris Judd. Big player for the big occasion. He would be loving this. So Carlton, can they make it 3 on the trot? Their record against top sides last season very disappointing. They'd love to turn that around. It's captured the imagination all week. But not only Melbourne, but football lovers around the country. This clash. Let's go down to Lee Matthews now with Brett Ratton.
Thanks, Rex, for your time. Now, the fans petition. Any thought of the 4 midfielders going head-to-head?
It might happen through parts of the game, but you know, Carrazzo will go to Pendlebury at the start, so we'll play him nice and close and see if we can reduce some of that stoppage influence that he has early on the game.
And your marking inside 50 has been fantastic. That's going to be a key to the game also. Weight is critical in that area.
Oh, he is. I think the forward line for both teams, if you don't mark it, can you lock it in? And I think both forward lines hold the key to tonight's game.
Just finally, you've grown up with the Collingwood Carlton rivalry. Does it even hype you up?
Oh, it does. I think, you know, just to look around at the crowd and the atmosphere, this is what you play for, and, you know, just a buzz to be out here, and hopefully we get the 4 points.
Fantastic days. Thanks for your time, Brett. All the best.
If you're scoring the fight at home, it's all about the midfield, according to all the experts this week. And why not? Probably as good a group as you'll see in combat this season. They go deep, particularly Collingwood.
One of those things, Dennis, that you think that it's hard to think one midfield's going to dominate the other one. To me, the game's going to be one of the extremities. Can Carlton, they've marked the ball 37 times in the first 2 weeks, Collingwood 25. That can, if they can do that again, they will win. But whether Cloak and Waite, who can play best out of those particular centre-half forwards, I think is really critical.
And the spread, Lee. I think Carlton in their 2 games so far have had 12 goal scorers on both occasions.
Yep.
That has been typically a great strength of Collingwood, but not so far this year.
Well, we have a look. We spoke about the Waite and Cloak. I mean, Waite has actually done as well as Cloak in the first 2 weeks. Taken 10, averaging 10 marks. Cloak is averaging 7. They're both going to be critical.
Umpire Donlan's got the footy. Friday night football. What a clutch of great games we've had recently. And this is right near the top of the bill. Not a great bounce to start proceedings. Jolly unloads, moves at about 10 metres, taken by Scotland. Looking for Cruiser. Cruiser does well, knocks at about 15 metres. Murphy over the football, an early touch. Gibbs right on the wing. Loops a hand pass over the top. Carrazzo back to Murphy. Murphy takes something off the kick, too much as it turned out. Swan in the road. So the midfielders playing amongst themselves just for the minute. The kick goes to the outer side. Well done by Dawes. Knocked it down. Comes across towards side bottom. Side bottom trying to go back to Dawes, and the ball bounces out of bounds.
See, Laidler just on Dawes there. Woods actually started for us. He's now just pushed into the ruck. So starting with the 3 tall timber targets, the Collingwood Magpies with Wood, Dawes and obviously Cloak.
And Beams started on Yaron, so maybe that defensive forward role. Ball got an interesting record against Carlton Ball. So Cruiser to Judd to centre wing. Good one-on-one there. Waite and Reid, and that ball out of play.
It's interesting, Collingwood playing that extra real tall. He's coming upfield a little bit now, so they're going to have to mark the ball because they're going to be a bit slow at ground level as a group.
So Cruiser at the back of Jolly. And then Judd hands and knees, whipped it out to Scotland. Well played, Scotland. Gibbs got a bit of a knee to it in the end. Jolly on the up, Swan. And that kick marked by Dawes. No, well, I looked the mark. Laidler belted it away at the end. And then Dawes in very heavy traffic. Murphy couldn't get free. Jolly, Judd sweeps it to Garland. Good man to get it. 45 metres out. Kicks the ball to the top of the goal square. Bouncing ball. Garland fixes his own footy almost. Ball ricochets. Robinson, Scotland. Good tackle. Swan to get on the end of it on the up to O'Brien. O'Brien has a missed kick. Waite, handball. It's very heavy going here. And it will be a ball up 20 metres out from Carlton's goal.
Great spread of potential goal kickers, Carlton. But what that also means is they've got good small to medium sides who can then put on extreme forward pressure.
Isn't that typical footy of 2000? About 12 players touched the footy and not one disposal amongst them.
Hampson knocked it down. Judd, who started brilliantly. 3 of their 15 possessions so far. He's over the football again. He's been in the thick of the action. This bounce about 20 metres out from Carlton's attacking goal. Good bounce too, propping in front. Jolly backhands it down. Swan kept away from the football by Murphy. It was well played. Betts, who was spectacular last Thursday, or Thursday week ago actually, wins a free kick.
Harry O'Brien has got the match-up on Betts. It's a very, very big difference in size. I mean, Betts, we see O'Brien just in the background of that shot. It was his teammate Ball who actually just allowed the tackle to drop down and trip him.
Eddie's got the darting eyes at the moment, looking for a kicker to cruise past. I would think he should get the distance from here. Here he comes, runs inside the 50. Kick is on the way. It's working back nicely. It's a goal. Just.
Well, no surprise that Betts is an early goal kicker. He's had 5 goals now, and this is his 3rd match for the season. Interesting that Nathan Buckley talked to Tom about intensity in this first quarter. Well, we're seeing that from both teams, not just one so far.
Just see the tackle here, Luke Ball just slipping down. There's been a lot of talk in footy circles around the other way, the tackle that slips over the shoulder, but the technique becomes just as important because obviously if you don't implement it, you can trip a player.
So Jolly goes early. Judd, as Dennis said, great start. Cruiser got it down to him. Wade takes it on his chest in the end. Did a great job there, Wade. He kept Reed out of it.
It's a good form, Wade. He's good in the air, but he just knew to push his body back.
Well, that's a sloppy kick because he was almost within range, you would have thought.
He would have kicked from the 50-metre line. I'm surprised he didn't ever go at it.
It's about where Betts was, just about, isn't it, in terms of the distance. So Maxwell has got the job on Robinson early. Now Murphy, back to Gibbs, and then Gibbs off for Stepjie Judd, who's got a record against Collingwood.
Just calm down.
He's got a record against everyone, Judd, but he has, in the last 6 times he's played against Collingwood, he's been best on the ground, Brownlow-wise, on 3 occasions. And in 2 of those, they lost Carlton. So he has had a fantastic strike rate against the black and white. Of course, he debuted against them as a West Coast Eagle a long time ago. 10 seasons back, or in 2002. Judd again in there. Laidler did well. Wellingham down low. Good to see him back at this level. That ball not coming out yet. Still contested hard. Wellingham having 2nd and 3rd cracks. Still not coming out.
It's a hot footy.
Yep. Contested possessions there. Here's a hit from Thomas that wasn't picked up. And the umpire, I think, adjudicated it really well. Just said, settle it down. Good stuff.
I know we're jumping on the Judd bandwagon, but last week just 2 possessions in the first quarter. He's had 5 of 22 to the moment. Murphy's kick goes out of bounds on the full.
Started well, Nick Maxwell setting up defensively, the loose man behind the plate.
Good to see him back too. He drives it out towards right half back. Goldsack better get this because he's outnumbered. It's still 3 on 2. Socket off the ground in desperation there by Shaw. Back to the wing. Tui's got it at close quarters. We're looking for Gibbs. Wood, Swan to half forward and Cloak. The solo peels off. Cloak initially spilt the mark. The solo is on, but he's run a lot wider now. Had it been taken cleanly, he was a chance there. Once this ball goes to ground, the solo is still running. He's covered about 20 metres by my reckoning.
Good tap by Jolly over the back. Curnow. Gee, that was ironic, wasn't it? Cloak, the best mark in the competition, dropping that one. Got to keep your eyes on the ball, don't you? Even when you're the very best Scotland, that's a poor kick.
Thanks, Sean.
Straight to Keefe. Backtracks to Reed. He'll be a key, Reed. I mean, Lee talking about the centre-half forwards tonight. Waite and Cloak at the either end. Well, Reed will get the job on Waite for most of the night. Side bottom to Ball. What about this Ball record? He's never lost to Collingwood. That's Carlton, I should say. Played them 50 metres. Played them 14 times and won all ball when he's been against them either as a Saint or a Magpie.
That was Betts coming into that protected area from behind. He basically wanted to get on the man of the mark, but he's got a 5-metre corridor either side of the line kicker.
Goes to Jolly. Well done, Cruiser. And then Fasolo stood up really well on the tackle. Beams gets it back from Blair. Good kick, Beams. Just missing.
It's important to take your chances, particularly when you're playing a defensive attacking role on a player like Yaron. When you get that opportunity to get scoreboard impact, make sure you nail it.
I think Robinson's doing the same on Maxwell. Both sides have decided to have a forward to give a little bit of attention to the opposition's key defensive
Simpson
runner.
all the way across to Jamison, to Yaron. Yaron searching kick. They're in now. Robinson, the run of Lucas. Nobody up ahead, so he has to check. Goes wide to Waite. Waite, though, a question of accuracy. Kicks. They've gone coast to coast. Wonderful.
Do you remember against Hawthorn? Hawthorn's ability to score against Collingwood from kick-ins was a real feature of that game a couple of weeks ago, and Collingwood have struggled in that area. Obviously against the Hawks they did, and that's a great start for Carlton from a transition, as Dennis said, coast to coast, one end to the other, and Waite finishing with a beauty.
A Carlton goal generated with both Judd and Murphy off the ground is always a good sign, but we were talking about the defensive roles for Carlton, an offensive one with Beams. Yaron was involved, and then Robinson involved doing a number on Nick Maxwell as well.
Great teamwork from their forward line to get into position.
Hampson up, Carazzo, Simpson, Scotland got a high one. Good tackle, though, the second one from Wellingham. Scotland did really well to get it back, and then Gibbs off a step, and Lucas in a good spot. So Carlton having a little roll here. Now Lucas 55 out, sets it up to full forward. Garlett and Tuvey. Tuvey with Garlett, boundary throw in. Lee, just back to that transition. Hawthorn were very effective against Collingwood, weren't they?
Well, both Carlton had some forwards back behind the Collingwood zone. So as soon as you got the first possession, Carlton, they just outnumbered Collingwood 3-1.
There's O'Brien and Betts. And then Thomas just hacking as far as he could, and Tui. He's a very good kick, Tui.
That's a poor hack. You can't hack the ball back down the centre corridor. If you're going to kick the ball quickly out of that congestion in the full back line, you've at least got to go to width, not straight back down the middle.
You really would have wanted the ball
in a panicky kick, isn't it?
In a left footer's hands, where it naturally swing out to the boundary, but right footer's towards the corridor on that part of the ground.
It's not beyond him, Tui. He's 51 metres out. It's a thumping kick. It's a straight long goal. Mick and Dennis, Tui and Hanley are two of the best Irish kicks I've seen in the AFL, don't you?
Two of the most natural players, I think, Bruce. They look natural. Not saying they're near the top of the heap, but they are very good with the ball in their hands. It all seems to flow.
Is this a worry? I mean, this is 3 goals to none, isn't it?
Well, we've seen them and they've looked good, and they're playing that way at the moment.
Obviously a great start by Carlton. Collingwood have won the last 5 encounters, but they've been in front at quarter time all of that 5. So Carlton have certainly got the jump tonight.
That number 42 has kicked a few goals over the years for the Blues. Robert Gall's got most of them. Out wide it comes to Thomas, who goes down towards half forward. Missed down there by Dawes. Runs free at the back. Oh, nasty collision. Beams was coming up. Tui was going back. And they were like a couple of bulls coming at each other right there.
Thank you.
More particularly Moose.
This is the area that Carlton have certainly improved on, Dennis, over the probably the last 12 months.
Got in low.
Getting in low, harder, longer.
Cruiser, Carazzo. They work it away as Simpson, Scotland. Now Gibbs, close to the boundary line. Pitches just inside and goes out.
Looking for Murphy. So 2 men, and Tui did get down low, didn't he?
Terrific technique.
He's an Irishman with some tricks. Side bottom, so Gibbs heard the play on and he just spilled it a bit, and then Pendlebury paddles it over the line. So the Blues off to the fly here. It is a big crowd now. It has built up. Dennis talked about a few spaces early on, but a lot of them have been filled. Carazzo. Gee, throw.
No legal disposal.
So side bottom with the free kick, about 60 metres from goal. He's going to go really, really short here. Good hands from Beams.
That's it, Zach. Thank you. Yep.
So Beams has had the one shot on goal for Collingwood tonight. It was a pretty good attempt.
Stay on
A
your line,
snap.
Dane.
Just fell away last year, Beams. So let's have a look here. Did he get it?
Yeah, that's a throw. Arms pin.
Good kick for goal, Beams. He's got a good record against the Blues. He kicked 3 in 2010 in round 18, but he averages a goal and a half a match against Carlton. Good kick. He's slotted it home. Collingwood needed it. So he's got all Collingwood scores so far.
Of course, he missed out on the grand final because of a very indifferent preliminary final. And keen to make his mark again. A couple of players like that tonight for Collingwood. Wellingham's another, coming back after a club suspension. These Beams boys can play. We saw his brother Clay a couple of weeks back. Blues by 11 points then, early going on a Friday night, and look at that. As Bruce said, it really has filled in. Back in the middle. Collingwood needed that goal. Cruiser decisively. Judd in midair, couldn't control it. Scotland's been elusive. Armfield goes out wide, and speaking of elusive, Murphy, speedster. Checked there initially by Goldsack. Now he goes for distance. Very close to the boundary line. Robinson went to ground. Keith was with him, and the ball bounces out of bounds.
Fred Ratton said pre-game that Corazzo was going to take the Pendlebury matchup. That's been a good contest for Pendlebury. He's got a couple of clearances. Pendlebury's only had one handball, hasn't had a clearance. Good matchup for Carlton.
Judd again in traffic. Hand passes downwards, full forward. Bauer got it on the boot. Betts kicks it straight up in the air. Nothing if not a sense of humour. Cruiser brilliantly towards the goal line. Betts got it from Hanson. Goes in and kicks the goal. His second.
Just seeing the real potent work of Carlton in around a stoppage situation. They're dominating contested possession at the moment, Lee. It's 24 to 10.
And they're getting Collingwood on the spread. The fact that Murphy started in the centre square, but he was the extra player out on the wing when the ball went out there. That got the first clearance into the forward line. But just at the moment, their midfield spread, Carlton's just on top.
And in all the talk of the midfield battle, probably the matchup we haven't spent much time discussing is the role of the ruckman, and we see the value of Cruiser on that occasion, being involved in the initial contest, and then his second effort's outstanding.
So Betts off to a fly. He thrilled us on Easter Thursday in Brisbane with a couple of screamers. So he's got a couple. Cruiser was so clever there. He sized it up. Hampson stands his ground. Murphy to Tui. So Carlton winning the clearances. Reid. Maxwell back to O'Brien. Garlick quickly on him. Good kick, O'Brien to Clark. Well played. So Marty Clark, another of the Irishmen out there tonight. Little chip to Tuvey. So it's been an unsettling start for Collingwood. Conceded 4 goals in the opening term.
Clearances 5-1 Carlton's way. That kind of ascendancy is going to give their scoreboard, their forward line, an absolute field day.
So for Solo, neat kick. Gets it to about 50. Henderson got back. Judd. Oh, gee, did well there, Judd. Wellingham couldn't put the tackle on. Cruiser. And then quickly on Cruiser, off a step. Carlton have got a chance here, but O'Brien, it wasn't a great kick, and Harry read it really well at the back.
In the back pocket then, just pops it wide. Maxwell is it left half back. 24 to 7. O'Brien. So Collingwood intent here. Just taking a bit of sting out of the game. Keith takes a while. Garland almost got there. Not a good kick. I think Robinson will get a free kick.
Gee, that chase by Garland, that speed to actually 30 metres, and he's still got the pressure on Keith.
Oh, timely hand there from Thomas. Deflected the ball. Blair. Well done. Good stuff by Ball. Get it across to Clark. It comes back towards Ball there from Swan. It was at Tuvey. Tuvey in the midst of that. And we've got a ball up. Interesting. Alan Tuvey debuted 5 years ago on Friday the 13th against Richmond. He hasn't blinked since. This ball about 60 metres out. Won by Hampson. Murphy, clever. With the path of White running out of space, it's out of bounds.
Tim, what have you got for us down there?
Heard Brett Ratton talking during the week about one position players. He said that's out at Carlton from now on. You've got to be flexible. Armfield started as a forward. Now he's actually playing as a defender on Pendlebury when Pendlebury went out of the midfield and started playing forward. So that's been demonstrated clearly here tonight how flexible they've become, Carlton.
It was interesting that Carrazzo didn't come out of the midfield for Pendlebury. You always thought Pendlebury's height in the forward line would trouble Carrazzo, but Carlton aren't going to allow that strength to take place.
Just one handball for Pendlebury so far. He averages 30 a match. Good kick out of the back. Now Keefe. Cruiser will corral him here. And Keefe doesn't panic. That's a good kick, actually. And Fasolo's got really good hands.
I must say, Pendlebury and Armfield, that's not a good one for Carlton, though.
Fasolo got it on to Wood, to Tuvey. Deep kick. Armfield got across. And did well in the second effort, Armfield. He cleans up Judd. But they were in the same deal with Kennedy. He might have hurt himself here, Armfield.
Well, Armfield had the match up on Pendlebury. I thought, well, if the ball's in the air, Pendlebury's height's going to matter, but at ground level, Armfield just went at it.
Yeah, he's done some damage here.
What's the plant knee here? There it is. It's not the contact, it's actually the pivot of the knee.
Weight.
So they're a man down the Blues at the moment. Gibbs. Beautiful to see that. Just singing his praises, Armfield.
Is it a stretcher?
He really attacked the ball with gusto then.
There's no stretcher yet. Is there a stretcher, lads?
You can hear the umpire.
Medical people would be seriously thinking about that, I would think.
So they don't have the replay that we had to look at. Judd, who started brilliantly.
There's no disadvantage whatsoever in calling for the stretcher on that situation.
No. The ball is with Maxwell. Drives it inside the forward 50. Strong mark is taken by Hampson. Hits the ground stumbling. Gave it across towards Robinson through the legs of Lucas. Lucas soccers it forward though, improvising, and did it well. White could have been held. Taken away by Reed. Searching kick inside the forward 50. Hampson goes back again. Well, this will test it. He has to kick with it if you don't mind. Armfield moved at about 10 metres. Not good policy by Carlton. Should have got him off the ground, perhaps on a stretcher. Just stop it.
So the problem with the stretcher is he's off automatic for 20 minutes. That's why it's not as kind of automatic. Now he's running off, so he may well be able to. He may have just had a twist to the knee rather than a really bad one.
He showed a bit of guts here, didn't he? Contesting. Went through Swan. Well done, Lucas. Scotland. Now Simpson to Gibbs. Doesn't handle that often, Simpson. He's a great kicker of the ball. Now Gibbs to Murphy to Scotland. And Scotland to Judd. He put the skipper under pressure.
The Carlton spread out of that part of the ground. I mean, they had a lot of numbers breaking out of that back 50 stoppages. The Collingwood chase at the moment isn't where they need it to be.
So Pendlebury, first real disposal for him. Thomas running hard, and that ball well in apparently. And now Gibbs off a step, gets the ball to half-back. Swanee's in a good spot.
Being pursued by the giant Hampson, too nimble. Gives it across to Keith. Back it comes to Cloak. He runs into Robinson, who kept coming. Hampson does well, picks it up, gives it to Robinson. Curnow looks towards the middle. Another chance, wants to get on his left side. Elects to hand pass again to Simpson to Murphy. Murphy is 55 metres out. Long kick. Waite is going back. And it's going to be a free kick, I think, to Waite.
I think pretty sure
you weren't going for the ball. You must try and mark the ball.
Wade actually was just trying to shepherd the ball through, but in the process,
Was that in the square,
just got eased forward.
Just want to look at this footage here. This is Hampson chasing Swan. Not only does he, and he shadows him out here and provides it. That was terrific work from the big fella.
Again, the umpire, you can hear him. Umpire Farmer. Getting Waite directly in front because the infringement took place in the square. It was a very indecisive pack. Waite benefits though, gets his second goal.
Lee talked about Waite being a match for Cloak in the first 2 weeks. Well, he's now kicked 8 goals, Waite. His stats last Friday night were just so impressive. I mean, we sort of overlooked him a bit. It was actually on the Thursday night because Judd and Murphy were so good. I think Waite finished up with about 20 disposals and 5 goals as a key forward, which is pretty remarkable in itself, and all those contested marks forward. So alarm bells, I reckon, for Collingwood here. I mean, they're just opening them up so quickly, Carlton, aren't they? The spread and the pace.
It's just at the moment they've got five shots at goal for 5 goals, but they've only been inside 59 times, so that's terrific conversion. But just at the moment, their speed and spread is leaving Collingwood behind.
So in that great run they had last year, Collingwood, only once did they concede a score like this in the opening term, and that was against the Bombers when Essendon kicked 8 goals and then got run over in the second half. Maxwell to Clark, and then Clark, good kick to Thomas. Thomas, who ignited them last Saturday night in that burst in the second half. Then ball back to Thomas, and then Thomas, good kick to Wood. And Wood protected the zone, and then Wood quickly on. Jolly loves to do this, get forward. Gee, good effort by Simpson. Blair over the top to Jolly, and that was out. Would have been better the other way. Jolly to Blair, I think.
That was terrific by Simpson. I mean, really, Jolly's probably got 15 centimetres on him, but he just pushed his body in, just made sure he affected the spoil. Well done.
He was a nuisance, wasn't he? Forward of the pack, Swan takes it across the boundary line.
Remember when Collingwood were at their very best last year, that swarming, tackling pressure, it's not there at the moment. Probably the whole year it hasn't been there, certainly not there tonight.
They're down by 23 points, approaching quarter time, off the ground by Carazzo. Took a Collingwood bounce, comes to Shaw, hooks it over the shoulder. Good fist in there by Yaron, timely one. Took the ball right off the chest of Beams, dug out of there. I think it was Ball. Now Beams turns around, sends it long down towards full forward in Cloak. Battle of strength. And Cloak won it.
Straight in front. Thanks, Travis.
You wonder what else Lockie Henderson could do, did you? He sort of had the body contact, but he's just so strong. Maybe Henderson had to sort of really go for the ball a little bit rather than just be totally conscious of Cloak's body.
Another goal they need. Cloak directly in front, slots it.
Well, he averages 4 contested marks this year. I know it's only round 3 a match, but that's just a powerful mark. I mean, he was off balance really, Cloak there, and yet the body strength, he's able to hold his position. He is such a key. So, you know, I'll go back to what Lee talked about, Waite and Cloak. Just the impact of the two of them. Waite's had a couple of goals so far. Cloak now imposes himself. So good stuff from the big forwards.
He is such a big, strong beast, is Travis Cloak. Just look at that, just fighting for the front position. Henderson lost there and then just able to clunk it. The good news for Carlton fans is that Armfield is now back on the ground, so he's been assessed, he's okay. No bandage on his left knee whatsoever.
Cruiser did well, and then Carazzo goes back to Scotland. And then Scotland on the left. Lucas just pushed out by Maxwell. Well played to Wellingham. Collingwood now just steadying a little.
That's better. Yeah. He went for the football then, Henderson. I think if he gets into the push and shove with Cloak, he's just got to go for the footy. Best way to spoil is to get his hands on it.
Well, there are I should say very few key defenders who can go one-on-one with Cloak, and you rely on, in this case for Carlton, a Laidler or a Dygan who's the sub to come in and help out. But pound for pound, he's holding his own, Henderson.
Scotland from Laidler. That slow-mo of Cloak. I mean, Carey at his best would have been proud of a mark like that. That's how strong it was. Judd, centre wing. What's he up to, Dennis Judd? He's got big numbers already, hasn't he?
9, Bruce.
Kicks to centre half forward. Reid, no free kick. Maxwell and Clark. Waite important. Betts has kicked 2. He's got a hat. No, he hasn't. I was going to say he's got a hat-trick in the opening term, but he hasn't.
That was a sinner. He tried to do the end-over-end kick, but, I mean, that was a 15-metre into the open goal. He'd be livid that he missed that one.
What a miss.
That was the 3rd goal went begging.
Meantime, Collingwood have it with Clark. He got up from O'Brien, comes back to O'Brien, but the cold potato there. He drives it towards the outer side. Leading back in the race is Laidler. To his own advantage, Laidler swings a hand pass to Scotland. Across it comes to Tui. Arches the back and slides away. Goes down towards the pocket. Waits. Oh, how strong were those hands. That ball was coming low and hard. Wait, 55 metres out, doesn't. Sends it long down towards full forward. At the back of the pack, Garlett. Play on's the call. Immediately 2 Collingwood players dive on top of him. And the umpire will ball it up. How's that for judgment? Garlett decided, I'll wait at the back. Judged it perfectly, but dropped the footy.
Now, the ruckman can't hit the ball through on the full Collingwood. They've got to clear it away.
to Hampson hard. Robinson third man up. And Carrazzo, who's having a big year, it just got bigger.
That's been a great matchup, hasn't it? I mean, what Carrazzo's done, he's been good. He's got 7 possessions. He's now got a goal. Pendlebury has hardly touched the footy, so very pleased with that one.
He's a great story, Andrew Carrazzo. Spent 2 years on the Geelong rookie list in amongst players like Ablett and Bartell, and he just had a fantastic appetite for work. Gone to Carlton now and won a best and fairest and has really cemented himself in the Carlton midfield. And he had triplets over summer. That's going to affect his lifestyle. But
hopefully they're all sleeping now, Tom.
Well, he looks pretty fresh. I saw him before the game. He was in great spirits. He's been a fantastic pickup.
He's not pushing into Pendlebury's body. He's just trying to work the positioning, not so much body to body, and he's finding the footy.
And he reminded Pendlebury of the goal straight after he kicked that as well.
Hampson fingertips to it, follows up. Carranza once more out of the middle. 8 possessions now for him, his career high in his 100th game, 44. But all eyes on Betts, who makes amends. He's got 3.
Well, we might have been onto something, Lee, before the game out in the centre square. The Carlton are absolutely dominating at the moment. If we get some footage over the course of the game, we'll see it on this occasion here. They're just the first ones in there. They're at the first instance off the ruckman's hand, on the move. And if it does spill, the second work rate's been great. You just see Andrew Carrazzo there. He's kicked the ball forward and had his head on a swivel straight to Pendlebury. And Eddie Betts is up and about.
Well, it was 4-1 after the first 5, and I reckon they've won the last few, so it's probably something like 8-1. And when the ball it goes quickly into the forward line, wasn't his positioning terrific, Betts? He just got to the front of the contest, which is where the spoil will go on the large percentage of occasions.
Before tonight, he's best against Collingwood, 4, but he's fast getting to that point already. 22 goals in 14 games prior to tonight. Judd's been magnificent.
He's just looking a bit too slippery for Harry O'Brien at the moment, isn't he? You look down at the Collingwood defence and O'Brien's going to get him in the air, and Betts not a bad mark, but he's very slippery at ground level, Betts.
Bucks looked frustrated there, didn't he? He can't impose himself like he could as a player out there right now. Well done, Wellingham. Back to Swan. Breaks the tackle well, Swan. Lovely little kick for Solo in a scoring position. Only teenager out there tonight for Solo.
Alex, Max here.
Fairly basic footy. Centre bounce, forward goal. It's as we've said many times, when there's a quick clearance out of the centre bounce forward, it's like defenders who are sort of used to zoning and a little bit often get caught out by their forward who is actually watching the footy off the teammate's boot.
4 goals already this season. And he's pushed that one, and he might have just kept it going through for a goal. He has.
Collingwood get another goal that they desperately needed. They've got that goal quite often tonight when they've been trying to cling on. All the brilliance has been with Carlton. For Solo, normally a sharpshooter, under pressure there, just pushing it to the right, but it was good enough. We saw Nathan Buckley down on the boundary, very anxious to get out there and talk to his players. Clearly, they're not going as hard as the Blues.
Nathan Buckley down on the bench at the moment. He's been down there for probably the past 5 minutes. I spoke to him just before the game. He had a really strong, steely resolve about him. Held the Pies in the room for a bit longer. I think he's going to have a fair talking to at quarter time.
Out of the middle, Charlie got it down to Ball. It wasn't a good bounce. Ball kicks it down towards half forward. Socket off the deck there by Gibbs, and it runs across the boundary. At left half forward for Collingwood.
They're certainly taking the chances. Carlton kicked 7 goals, 1 been really accurate, but it's actually when a team sort of blitzes you, kicks 7 goals in a quarter. Apart from the fact that you're well behind, that's the big concern.
Here's Swan, his 9th possession at close quarters. Tuvey in desperate trouble. The man chasing Swan was Chris Judd. He just moved on to the next ball carrier.
He's got his good midfielders in there. You think, well, what can Collingwood do to change the flow? They just need their good players really to get greater involvement in the game.
Jolly in front. Hampson over the top, knocks it down. Pendlebury missed it. Judd didn't. The umpire went down. Robinson forward. Garlett, can he step past Goldsack? No. He's holding the football. It'll come back to Goldsack. And now 50.
Luke Paul looks like he's got some new issues as well.
He's a tough unit, Luke Ball.
This is not good. Fingers crossed. He does what Armfield has done.
Andrew.
He's not moving.
Stay. Stay. Go to him.
That look says it all. Meantime, Goldsack sends a long bomb towards full forward. No one touched the footy. Bounces very high. Thomas, that was interesting. Comes to Beams under pressure. Brilliantly done. Throwing himself across the boot was Laidler. He goes again. Pendlebury is in there. Laidler comes up with the football. Well, sort of. He was crawling forward. And the umpire will ball it up. Now, that's where it would have been a travesty had Laidler been penalised.
So here's the ball injury, and he's still in the hands of the trainers there. And Collingwood's welling and bouncing it through for a behind. So ball now on his feet, but you can see that he's in a lot of trouble.
Be freakish if both those what seemingly were nasty knee injuries end up being basically nothing. So we'll hope that there is a 2 out of 2.
Well, they're a player down right now, Carlton. They're the best at scoring from kick-ins, so they might be able to exploit this 17-man defence of the Pies.
So Keefe on weight. Reed's been off the ground, I think, for a bit. High ball by Clark. At the back, well done by Jamison. Judd's had a magnificent opening to Robinson. And then Robinson down the line to Waite. Good hands by Waite. Came in board. Not long to go. Betts has been a star. Good hands. O'Brien with him. Harry and Eddie. It's a good match. Betts gets it out. What a wonderful quarter by the Blues. Pulsating stuff. Ball, a big story in the opening term. Armfield back on. But on Friday the 13th, on this Friday night, it's Carlton over Collingwood. It's 7-1 to 3-2 at quarter time. I can see coming up.
23 points the margin, then here's Bruce.
There's Luke Ball, so that is a good sign, isn't it? He looks to be moving pretty freely right now.
Yeah, well, we might have got 2 for 2 where they've actually not done severe damage when they both looked like they had done Ball and
well, it is the 13th of Friday the 13th. Yeah. Anything can happen, as we know from the opener tonight. But Carlton's opener was almost as impressive as Dennis's tonight. 7-1 to 3-2. So they lead by 23 points. And I reckon Collingwood, if you're taking your eye off the scoreboard, they've actually done a reasonable job to be within this margin, because Carlton seemingly have dominated early. The one thing the Pies have been able to do is score when they've got the ball inside the 50. Murphy, like Judd, had 11. Gee, wait, he has lovely hands, hasn't he? And then off a step, neat kick. Judd running so hard, boundary throw in, but just inside the 50 for the Blues.
Interesting, Pendlebury just happened to be going near Judd, so just maybe Collingwood have said, well, let Pendlebury maybe try and work off Judd a bit.
Which is what Hodge just told us, didn't he, that he thought maybe you got to just go the one-on-one. Judd's little toe poke. Carazzo down low, Armfield, Cruiser, and now to Murphy. We know he's a lovely kick. Kicks the ball right to the top of the square, and then Hampson and Maxwell. And a behind.
Eddie, back to the blue dot, please. Eddie, blue dot. Thanks, mate.
Be a really influential figure, Luke Ball. Hugely admired from the playing group. Outstanding competitor.
Good news and bad news. Bucks was running quicker. Dawes towards the wing. Judd has been everywhere. It came to him. The magic was back. Well, it was back in round 1 this season, but at quarter time last week, after that sluggish start, he just willed himself into the contest, and he started in similar vein tonight. Cruiser works in front to Judd. Well, he didn't have to do much there, Judd. That was brilliant by Cruiser. Searching kick inside the forward 50. Hampson will get a free.
Push out.
So the margin at 4 goals. Gets out to 5. It becomes almost unmanageable.
He had to get his body into it because he get outreached in just a reach, and the umpire just thought that was a little bit back instead of side.
Can I just break in there? There's Ben Reid on screen now. Now, we don't know exactly why he left the field. It was late in the first term. You see some strapping there on his left thigh. He's had some real troubles with soft tissue injuries in the past, but he's out for the game. Sinclair's been activated.
Hampson gets underneath at Robinson. The big leap. Garlett, Armfield. What a comeback this would be. Out of bounds on the full. He's doing it in stages.
Well, that's a huge blow. Obviously, Tarrant's out, Brown's out. And what it will force Collingwood to do is use Nick Maxwell in a key defensive post, which we saw on the much taller player in Hampson.
And of course, Board, very important now that he can play a substantial role because they're down to 21. Here's Thomas running with a couple of bounces, a third. And then delivering to half forward. It was an awkward kick for Dawes. Well played, Dawes. And then Dawes running away and then going for goal. And he's kicked it. Well, talk about coast to coast. This time the Pies.
The goal came again. It was really that one-on-one contest win by Maxwell. Of course, the advantage was played, and as soon as the ball was carried into the middle of the ground there, then the defence, Thomas is quick, but so's Dawes. He's very quick. I reckon both Bowers and Henderson thought, oh, well, he's going to kick it, but he held on to it.
Well, it doesn't look as dangerous as the back leads coming from the Carlton Smallies, but he did brilliantly. Dawes thought about going to the middle.
Never assume your opponent is going to do anything. Just go and lay the tackle. That's the lesson for the Carlton defenders.
That's concentration. Back in the middle then. Cruiser only as far as Swan. High ball out towards the wing. How will it bounce? Curnow goes after it. Has to hesitate now. Played it well to Tui. Tui, little chip about 15 metres. Barely the required distance. Simpson running down towards half forward. Carazzo, 2 goals alongside his name. Inside the forward 50. Big leap in front from Robinson. He's looking dangerous down there. Tuvey ran into a dead end. Hampson is claimed. Shaw got him. Tuvey goes after it. Murphy missed it. Slapped out of there by Sidebottom. Back to his own goal is Scotland in trouble. Sidebottom comes again. Scotland gets the ball back. He's dragged down by Dawes. Gets a hand pass out to Cruiser. Cruiser on the line of the square. High ball down towards the pocket. 2-on-1. Hit Hampson in the face. Comes to Wellingham. Wellingham deep in his own defensive area. Beautiful kick. Coming out, finds Beams inside the centre square, back to Wellingham. Wellingham kicks it down towards half forward, coming up to meet the football cloak. He missed it. Bauer gets back.
Great call, Dennis, and then Bauer finds some space. Good signs, I reckon, for Collingwood early, though. Carlton had it in their forward 50 for a while. Collingwood wheeled the ball out. Scotland, 14 disposals in the opening term. Kicks the ball very wide to Waite. Remember, no read. Waite to Murphy. Murphy, neat kick. Betts has got beautiful hands. Well, he really should have got that. I mean, he's got, what more did he have to do, Betts? Anyway, Cloak's got it at centre wing.
Looked like he controlled it, didn't he? Looked like it just stuck for that split second.
And it looked like a chop or two in there. But anyway, no mark. Cloak. Jamieson, well done. Henderson sort of left it. Gibbs, such a quarterback, Gibbs, and that is a lovely, lovely kick.
The speed is telling at the moment. Curnow on the wing. Goes very short. Robinson alongside the centre circles.
Got 2 gatekeepers there for Collingwood at the moment. 2 players sitting just across the 50. I'd prefer to see just one and the other one actually manning up a player.
Robinson kicks to the 50, and despite all of that, one of those gatekeepers came across. Lucas gets the loose ball and just manages to sneak it through for a behind. They're just quicker. Bucks on the phone.
Just the difference in this quarter so far. The Collingwood back 50 has been able to pretty much stop any easy shots at goal. So they're under siege.
Shaw. O'Brien. To the pocket. Maxwell has to wait. This is dangerous. Simpson came over the top. Thumps it out of bounds. Win for Carlton.
Simpson. Consecutive games. Well, he's up to 147 tonight. Mr. Consistency. Cruiser. Murphy almost. Clark. Armfield. Gets a second crack. Armfield. Goes back. Lucas, he just missed one a moment ago. Hooks it back. And Tuvey cuts it off. So Collingwood absorbing at the moment, which is what they weren't able to do in the opening term. 1-on-1. Good effort by Yaron, but overrun there by Scotland, who's had such a stunning start. And that might be holding the ball in the end. No, ball up.
They're very much absorbing it by just getting extra numbers into their back 50, which means when they get up towards the midfield, unless they can get a runner that really surges through the middle, they're really kicking to a bit of a Carlton brick wall across their half-forward line.
Jolly directs it down. Pendlebury over the football. Cruiser there. Whistle.
Fine.
Tell you what, Armfield is looking okay. I might have to return my honorary stethoscope.
We had a
Room, please.
dark look about you in the opener, Dennis. Set the scene.
That's right.
Play on.
There's Swan. I was just reliving it, sorry. I just took a moment. Kick goes inside the forward 50. How embarrassing. The mark is taken by side bottom. The things you do because you love your job, Tom.
No doubt.
Here's side bottom. Side bottom's kick is a pretty good one. He launches this. Long range goal. That could be a spark for the Magpies. He's a terrific player in side bottom. One of 5 brothers. We've heard about kicking double-figure goals in the under-18 grand final. But he stepped into league football like very few young men. I think in his first game he had 22 possessions. Seems to enjoy the big stage. I suppose every now and again it suits a player. The better the level, the better they play. He's one of those.
Spot on, Dan.
Getting that surge out of the middle, I mean, Carlton and both sides really have to get that sweeper roll in position to stop them, the opposition just running clearly out of the pack, and that set up Collingwood's 2 goals.
Kicked the last 3, Collingwood. They were 30 points behind at one stage. Swan goes forward. Cloak was terrific there. Scotland back to Henderson. This has been impressive by Collingwood. Still a couple of goals behind, but they've dug deep here and brought themselves back into the match.
In fact, Wellingham's got the Judd matchup. He's trying to just play body to body.
Robinson's kick wasn't great, but Gibbs made it okay, and then Gibbs's kick was poor and cut off, and Swan through the centre. Scotland got a little bit on it. Sinclair, the sub, into the back. Gee, that's a big miss for Collingwood.
Yeah, they had the numbers in there. They looked like they just could run through from there.
Now Jamison gets it. And that's a terrible kick going forward. So Carlton just having the blues at the moment. They are not using the ball. They're burning it. Now Beams got it from Shaw. Still Beams. He ran a long, long way. And then puts a high ball forward. Cloak and Henderson. Well played, Henderson.
Played that really well, Lockie Henderson. He summed up the ball. Was coming in long. Positioned himself in the drop zone. Forced Collingwood just to kick it blazingly away.
His better defence will be to go for the footy at every opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't get locked into Cloak if you can help it.
Robinson finds Gibbs. Penetrating kick over the wing. Mark is taken by Hampson. To the run of Curnow. Curnow a little chip into the path of Bauer. Well, fashionably early was Maxwell, but it worked out okay, and the ball goes out of bounds. Knows all about this rivalry. Nathan Buckley, as I said, 25 games against Carlton. Judd, Gibbs, Keith had to wait. We'll get a free kick. Garlett coming back on him.
Play on.
Keith going back. There's Swan.
The Carlton can adjust their game because Collingwood are playing the extra man back. That quick kick forward now is not going to work because you're now going to go to outnumbered. It's a question of whether they can adjust to Collingwood's change in setup.
Keith gave it to Tuvey. Tuvey goes back to the man with more ink from the Saturday age. Swan a little chip, but not a run out of bounds. The ball's coming back.
Okay, sorry. Throw him back here.
This will be interesting.
Touched, out of bounds, throw in. He's out of play. Just wait, just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
It's a great result for Carlton.
Didn't see what happened.
Okay, go now.
Can we signal that big square box?
As Tom said, it's a great result because Swan was on his way. Lucas, well done firstly by Sidebottom and then by Blair. Cut off by Jamison. First game this season to Laidler. Laidler's kick slow to Lucas. Short at the back. Armfield, Beams. Armfield did well. And then Blair on the up. Lovely hands to Goldsack, to Beams. Scotland just terrific. Now with an opportunity. Still with Scotland. He gets around Beams and then pushes it hard to Hampson. Betts well done against O'Brien. Harry has to get back. Ball hits the post. Gee, I thought it hit the post, but it's a behind. And O'Brien really quickly gets it on and then gets it back from Swan. And now Tuvey. It is a fast game.
He's at left half back. Cloak hasn't seen a lot of the footy. Has it the defensive side of the wing. Awkward half volley for Dawes. Jamieson did well. Dawes, though, stayed on his feet. Jamison's hurt his shoulder, I think. Meantime, for Solo, put down very strongly. Kick comes from Cloak, down towards half forward. Wellingham got a hand in there. Runs free. Carranzo gets back, though, hanging off the pack. Yaron did it nicely. Judd in midfield. Carlton, again now, suddenly with all the answers. But the margin has closed. It's only 14 points. Well, Judd took a risk. As a result, Lucas is away. Runs forward of the wing. Kicks inside the forward 50. Maxwell came hard. Got a fist on it. Roving the pack is Betts. Could get a hard one here now. He's missed a couple of easy opportunities tonight and still has 3. That one behind. Jamieson clutched at his right shoulder as he landed here.
She had some important injuries early in this match. We know Reed's off the ground. We thought Armfield and Ball were gone for the night and maybe for much of the season, but they're out there. Thomas, that's not a good kick. Jamieson, well done.
The Jamieson one before, he's obviously had plenty of work done on his shoulders, and sometimes it's just the thought that you might have hurt it by putting itself in a situation which would typically hurt it, but obviously O'Kaney's
like 3 hours to actually damage his, to bandage his shoulders. A lot on it.
Worked underneath it, Cruiser. Hampson had a crack, couldn't get it. Well played, Swan. Just accumulating. And now for Solo, gets it from Pendlebury. Wellingham, good tackle, Gibbs.
And that's the difference between a 6-year player and a second-year player, is the ability to stick that tackle when the opponent tries to struggle out.
And now Murphy, that's a lovely kick. Well done, O'Brien, closing speed, terrific. Goldsack just couldn't quite hang on to it. Clark, Collingwood are away.
Side bottom, assessing the options. There's one, goes short. Beams looks up, puts it into the path of Shaw, who's run from the back pocket. And he takes the mark. He's about 35 metres out. Now he looks back towards the middle. That may be the reason they go to that position. They've done that a few times, just inside the 50 and very wide, but maybe the strategy is then to come back into the middle, and Goldsack will shoot at goal from about 35 metres out.
They're in control now. They're back third, Collingwood, and even though Carlton had a lot of 9 inside 50 entries this quarter, they're just rebounding out Collingwood, and they're the ones who are scoring on the break.
Goldsack starts it right, works it back, it's a goal. The Magpies showing a lot of grit right here. Well, it all turned at the other end. He took 2 spectacular marks last week, Eddie Betts, and just when his coach and the fans wanted him to hang on to a chest mark, it was punched away brilliantly by O'Brien, and they swept it the length of the ground and got the goal through a defender, Tyson Goldsack. That was marvellous stuff. But Eddie, perhaps, if he had his time over again, would have got the mitts out in front and taken the mark off his chest. He just showed too much of it to O'Brien.
Massive crowd watching Collingwood come back hard here. Jamieson back on the ground and is pushed forward here. So
right
maybe just to change the structure up forward, because they've had the ball there a lot in this term, but they've only kicked 4 behind. Ball out of the centre, so what a turnaround in this game. Collingwood now getting some clearances. Wood, handball away, wasn't good. Curnow, Tui, smart player Tui. Judd. She'd take something to want the ball more than Robinson, and Judd, his teammate, ripped it away. So the captain at half-back. Neat kick. Bauer, who's played back end forward tonight. So Carlton's only behind in the opening term was the sitter that Betts missed. And in this term they're 0-4, and Collingwood have replied with 3 goals. Kicked the last 4 tonight, Collingwood. Cruiser, Curnow, well done, Tuvey. Swan just racking them up. And then Goldsack just had a fumble at the wrong time and a boundary throw in.
Nathan Buckley's had a win here, I think. He's obviously sensed the surge that Carlton had earlier on in the game, and to see the fumble there from Goldsack and put the players behind the ball, so taking the sting out of the Carlton run.
Carranzo is taken high. He'll get a free kick. Blair.
Clear it out. Play on.
Hard nut Blair, 9th in the best and fairest last season. There's Yaron, long ball downwards. Full forward, launching himself. Wait, couldn't hang on. Took the hand pass. Keith paddles it towards the boundary line, and out it goes.
Carlton just at the moment have to try and lock the ball in a bit, don't they? Just on the rebound, that's when Collingwood look like scoring, when they get into this position on the ground and then get numbers and charge out.
I think sometimes you can get too far in front too early. Here's Robinson to Judd. Gets past Ball. Did Ball hurt himself again there? Curnow Dragged down, great tackle by Clark. Gave it across towards Beams, but Beams' kick is marked by Scotland. Okay. Scotland, meantime, sends it back towards full forward. From all directions they fly. Maxwell, Pendlebury, Swan. Pendlebury has 5 possessions now. Still, by his standards, not a game he'd care to remember so far. Picks up another one. Comes to their last goal kicker, Goldsack. Just drops it over the top, demanding something at Swan, who comes up and marks the ball. And will turn around to take his 18th possession. This is not good. So Ball trying to come back. So they're down by 2 players now. Reid has been subbed out, and Ball, it appears certain, won't take any further part in the game, although the recuperative powers of these players tonight has been rivaling the WWE.
So Clark getting it from Shaw. Just running hard, Collingwood. Tuvey at centre wing. Goes down the line, which Collingwood do so famously. And that ball in. So there's Luke Ball. That's
straight down the race.
Terrible luck there.
There's a really good build-up there by Collingwood. They're a player down that whole passage of play and was really patient the way they used the ball. Just see here. He's as brave as they come, Luke.
Blair got through. It was a wonderful smother by Scotland. He's the only player out there who's had more disposals than Swan. Judd also in that mix. Lee, you talked about Collingwood's lack of intensity in the tackle. That's been a big difference in this quarter.
Yeah, they've got numbers around the footy, mainly in the forward half. I mean, percentage of time, I'm sure Carlton have been in the forward half most of this quarter. But Collingwood have done all the scoring.
Murphy, good kick to Waite. Waite to Garlett. Oh, lovely mark. He had the drop on Swan.
It's the thing that separates a lot of those small forwards, particularly Garlett. We saw what Betts did last week when he took the 2 skyscraper marks, but Garlett's good overhead too. The great smother to turn the ball round.
Scotland to the smother. He's having a magnificent night.
When they got the sit, they can jump and mark overhead, both Garlett and Betts.
Well, he's been a huge goal kicker. 87 in the last 2 years. Betts has kicked 92. He steers it, and he might have got it home. I think he has. Carlton needed it. So their first goal for the quarter. Got a little bit of breathing space again now. So Betts with 3 and Garlett with 1. We often link those 2 guys up. 92 and 87 in the last 2 years between them. Waite's got a couple. And for Collingwood, well, just the 1, and Dawes got a very good one in this quarter.
Just indicative of the way that game's been played. This quarter, it's 12-6, 12 inside 50s, Carlton to 6 to Collingwood. But Collingwood have got the 3 goals to 1. I mean, it's been a bit of rope-a-dope, really, the way that's been played.
First goal for the Blues in 25 minutes. Murphy dragged down. Clark got it across somehow to Goldsack. On the bounce, taken by Wood to Thomas, who's been pretty quiet. Kicks inside the forward 50, and Laidler drops back to take the mark. So the margin 15. Henderson keeps getting better. Steps around Cloak, makes him work. Good policy, kicks it towards the wing. Curnow takes the mark, lays it off. Yaron, always deadly. There's a man deep. He didn't see Jamison. Jamison was 40 metres in the clear, about 15 metres out from goal. Waite kicks to Jamison, who's now been covered. Although, I was going to say he wasn't required. That hit the post.
Great forward presentation there from Jared Waite. He's on screen there. Just concerns around the way Dawes is attacking the footy at the moment at the other end. They've got Cloak, who's obviously been up and about, but just keeping an eye on the way Dawes is going about his footy.
So Keefe. Now Sinclair, the sub, who came on for Reid just at quarter time. Thomas switches it to Wellingham. Wellingham, low kick for Solo. Couldn't quite. Gibbs has been excellent. Scotland's been magnificent. Just misses Tui, and then Tui cleverly, but Thomas, his head was in the right place. Now Wellingham steps around 1, gets the ball back inside 50. Robinson attacks it hard. Thomas just ricocheted away high on Laidler.
Hi, hey, I've got it.
Good play, Laidler, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, and he's actually got the... they've got Laidler and Bauer now playing as the 2 big defenders now that they've shifted Jamison forward. So they're giving away a bit of height, but they're doing okay still.
Carazzo, I think I mentioned earlier, he kicked 2 goals. He's kicked 1. Well, he had 2 in my record, but he's only got 1.
Pendlebury still only had 6 possessions, so that matchup's been a beauty for Carlton.
Bauer in the back pocket to Armfield. He's made a miraculous recovery. That's a beautiful kick. Jamison. Gee, just moments ago, Collingwood really dodged a bullet. Jamison was on. Yaron didn't see him. Would have been an easy kick. Missed there by Shaw, close to the boundary line. Out it goes. .54 plays 38, counting down to half-time. Margin was 23 at quarter time. Collingwood have just done enough to stay in touch. Cruiser intended for Carazzo, grabs Thomas and slings him out of bounds. Daisy just the 9 possession.
Hasn't he been impressive in the ruck this year, Cruiser? Back from the knee injury sort of halfway through last year, but his ruck work, we know he can get after the ball at ground level, but the way he's getting his hand to the ball in the air, really good.
And again, that was wonderful. We could rove to that all day. Carazzo, telling kick, coming up. Waite got to his move early. Jamison on the assist. Keefe didn't have the football. Maxwell took a risk, ricocheted off Waite. Waite with courage dives after it. Now he's got a problem. Maxwell has the football. Garlett got him. Wellingham steps over his fallen captain. He was grabbed by Garlett. Armfield double teams him and will have a ball up.
Terrific stuff.
Tackles inside. Have a look at that. This has been a hallmark of Collingwood's game over the last few years, but tonight it's all Carlton in there.
It's a dangerous play by Waite. Had Collingwood got away there, though, on Cruiser tapping it. And then Lucas. Lee, it's the first time since round 13, 2010. So we're going back 2 years. Cruiser, Jamison and Waite have been on the one Carlton team. Got them all together. Yep. In fact, Brett Ratner, Carlton believe this is the best team on the ground that he's ever coached in the 100 games that he's been, in terms of their names. And they've got a big test tonight. Robinson's kicked to full forward. Jamison in a good spot. Worked underneath. Betts, still Betts and Harry. Gee, that was good stuff. Oh, O'Brien wins it because it's a behind, but in many ways it was a dead heat. What a battle.
He was just thinking, Eddie Betts, how can I get a foot to this? Now, how can I possibly get my foot and sock it through? But O'Brien was too big for him. Overpowered him.
Albus Dumbledore. Trust Harry. That was terrific. Out of defence, Maxwell towards the wing. Big fist came from Cloak. Knocks it about 20 metres in the wrong direction. Murphy falling to the ground. Robinson. Now Carazzo again. Sends a high ball in. Tailor-made for Clark. Uncontested mark. About a minute and a half remaining in the first half, and Shaw decides to run it up. Dawes comes towards him, but that kick goes nowhere near Dawes. We just found a man who was headed, I think, to the interchange bench. Either that or he just came on. Judd, he was 20 metres away from the intended target. His kick goes in. Free kick is going to Thomas. Thomas gives it to Swan.
Awkward kick by Swan. Set to via task. Carlton have got numbers here. Robinson with a quick kick forward. Garlett waiting. Jamison did the job. And then Murphy builds it home. And Carlton take a big lead. Swan's kick was just awkward. It was a sloppy kick in the back half. I know it's hard. He's had a big quarter and a big half, but it put them under so much pressure. And then Carlton always had the numbers. Always looked like they were going to go to goal out of that. Once that ball got into their hands at about 50. And Murphy, again, just a terrific first half. He's had 20 disposals, Murphy. 8 of them contested, and he's got the goal.
As you mentioned it, Bruce, as soon as Swan went into the centre corridor and the ball went to ground, the Carlton players just sieged over the footy. And Murphy, he will run forward. There's one thing about Murphy, he will play very offensively and run hard forward.
Judd playing like Buckley often did. You saw Nathan showing his frustration there in the box. O'Brien drives it out towards right half forward. Awkward bouncing ball, but the numbers favour the Blues. Scotland, who's been stellar. Across half back, went too far, so the umpire advantage is taken. Cloak to Blair. Blair is off target and just gets it home for a behind. Well, they took it, and fair enough too. Scotland ran himself into trouble. And doing that, ran too far. Bad combo. Tui, 61 plays 39.
Jolly, just hands in the back apparently. tell the irony here, Lee, is that Collingwood are only 1 point closer than they were at quarter time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, it's Carlton are close to playing just as well, but the Collingwood back third's been very good this quarter. Very good.
Jamison making a good effort there, a good contest, and now Yaron Garlett protects the footy. Now, not long to go. You know that at home. Garlett doesn't. One last chance. Maybe not now. He won't go all the way with this kick. And that'll be the halftime score, you would reckon. So Collingwood came out hard in the second quarter after Carlton blitzed them early, but the Blues had the final say just before half-time. Terrific match, high scoring in many ways. Betts has kicked 3. He and Harry have just had a great duel. They're going to take it to the change rooms by the look of it at half-time. So on Friday the 13th, on Friday Night Footy, Chris Judd leading from the front. Carlton lead Collingwood on this beautiful night in Melbourne. It's 61-39.
Conversation between Goldsack and Gibbs there. Goldsack smiling, Gibbs not returning the smile. So the Magpies get back into this. Midway through that term, that looked highly likely. Judd swings a hand pass intended for Scotland to their best players. Hacked out of midair there by Shaw. Advantage is paid. Dawes just releases the football back to Shaw. Practices like a boundary umpire. Gives it to Sidebottom. Sidebottom short towards the 50. Awkward half volley down there. Coming to meet the ball was Cloak. Couldn't do much with it. Taking it out of bounds is Henderson.
Just change it up. Pendlebury started out of the centre square. He might not be there for long, but I guess they decided just to change it up. Not working in there at this point.
Dygan sitting back. He's a luxury. The ace in the hole for Carlton. The sub. Judd got it from Hampson. Stolen away by Wellingham. High ball down towards full forward. Some jostling down there. Henderson did well. Arriving quickly, Sinclair rarely called his name. And he kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Started as a sub. Sinclair came on for Reid. So Carlton with all the edge here, you feel. They've got the scoreboard advantage. Collingwood down to 20 men. Their rotations will be tested. Their key defenders out, and also Tarrant and Brown obviously not playing. So Yaron, with that great pace that he has, just do a one-on-one. You'd back O'Brien here. Runs away from Lucas, gets to 60, delivers a good ball. Carlton got all the numbers, but they all went up. And Swan was down, and that ball hit the behind post for a boundary throw-in.
Got away with one there, Carlton. You mentioned it right, Bruce. Went up early in that situation. You really got to influence the contest and get it out of bounds.
Collingwood pressing hard. Jolly did well. Wellingham tried to fend off. Chikarazzo was a good tackle. And then the little give was terrific. Bow to Judd. Judd sweeps it. Scotland. Lovely kick to Kerner. Scotland's the only player out there tonight that played in the grand final for Collingwood in 02 and 03. Yep. His other teammates are Tarrant and Johnson and Didak, ex-Collingwood teammates. He played against Lee's Lions twice in those grand finals as a Magpie. Takes you to funny places, as we saw Gavin Brown a moment ago. Garlett roved it beautifully. The ball sits up. They're not going to get him. Clark won't run him down. Garlett still going, and that hurts. That is brilliant.
Sometimes wonder in that situation whether you've just got to peel off and go to the man with the footy. There was a lot of delaying there by Collingwood defenders. Admittedly, he had a lot of open space in front, but make him handle it one more time. Although, having said that, he wasn't super assured with that bounce. So maybe the Collingwood players thought, looking at that, we're not sure he will control the footy. But in the end, he turned his back on the advice we saw during the week for a lot of the Hawthorn stars.
It's pretty great thing. As soon as there was a turnover and there was space, the only question was he going to be able to maintain possession? But he knew that no one from behind. Dawes had a good go at it.
Yeah, you got to admire the chase, and we've seen his cousin do that plenty of times, the MCG here.
That's Buddy Franklin, his cousin. Judd goes forward. Wouldn't it be awful if you were the cousin of Buddy and you're having to kick out the back?
Harry, just hit, please.
You feel like you're a magician, but your first cousin's Houdini or David Copperfield. Tui
look at that.
Goes bang, and the Irishman just misses.
Well, you think to yourself, well, you see how players can kick, and you see how, you mentioned Piers Hanley, the other Irishman, and Tui, they kick the ball really well. Now, they probably started kicking footy about 18 years of age, so Sometimes you teach yourself much more than anyone else is ever going to teach you.
One thing about that idea you had, Bruce, is the kick comes in. If it was a big enough backyard, Buddy wouldn't catch it. Down goes Shaw, stolen away by Murphy. Delays it nicely. Robinson feeds it forward. Armfield hard against the boundary. A dangerous centering kick. Cruiser almost the mark. Curnow had his kick smothered by Clark. Gets a hand pass away to Blair. Falling to the ground to Maxwell. Maxwell, the long bomb out of defence. Simpson up. Couldn't hang on. For Solo to the wing on the lead Cloak. It's all Carlton back though. They're the deepest in all the pairings. A couple of them pretty short. Cloak goes long, Dawes in front, reaching over the top, getting a fist on it. Bauer, well played by Sinclair to Beams, hugs the boundary line. Pendlebury almost the mark.
See, that's what Gibbs can do. Pendlebury's dangerous in the forward line because he's got good height for a midfielder, but Gibbs, you can use him in almost any function you want. He's got a big one down there at the moment.
Gee, that's a good matchup, isn't it? It's Pendlebury's height. But Gibbs a match there on that occasion. Laidler tried to get through, and then Pendlebury just held up, swung by Gibbs in the tackle. Gee, Carrazzo was so clever there. Bad handball, though. Bad tackle, though.
Just a bit too anxious he was, Sinclair. He had him cold, but just fell all over his back.
Play on.
So Simpson just trying to draw someone to him. Henderson, now they'll want to release Sharon here if they can, but Cloak was able to go with him. Henderson off a step, good kick. Gives Wade every opportunity. Well played Maxwell to get back. Swan, productive in that first half. Little kick forward. Collingwood have got to get the next goal.
Plays on. Swan misses the target intended for Fasolo. The ball runs out of bounds.
Lee, we're interactive tonight, and one of the viewers have come in and said, is there a noticeable difference between the Malthouse Magpies and the Buckley's Magpies at this early stage?
Well, it's more the energy that the team's putting out. I mean, they're just the defensive tackling pressure that we've come to expect of Collingwood just hasn't, certainly not there tonight, let alone this far, though, so far this season.
And Collingwood have already lost 2 games if this goes the way it's going, although Shaw has other ideas. Over the top, that was magnificent. Eyes only for the football, and found it. Tricky spot certainly for Murphy.
Hold that line. No closer.
Invariably tonight, they've got the goal when the games seem to be ebbing away, and they get this one and they pull it back to 23 points. Gee, they needed that.
That was just a remarkable effort by Shaw. And Dennis has made the point, you know, you felt 3 or 4 times tonight that the Blues have been ready to dismantle Collingwood, but just that extra goal they've been able to get. So one thing they've been able to do, Collingwood, is actually score tonight. They haven't probably had that many inside 50s compared with Carlton, but when they've got in there, they've been able to score. I mean, that was a bit of a remarkable effort, single effort. Shaw gets the goal.
Heath Shaw's taking the mark, coming from half back again. Scott Pendlebury starting outside of the centre circles on this occasion. Bryce Gibbs doing the defensive work. As we mentioned, a fantastic matchup.
So Collingwood get one back. Their 2 most recent goal kickers tonight have been Goldsack and Shaw. So unusual sources, but it's just one of those nights for Collingwood. G. Maxwell worried out of it there by Jamison. Garlett just didn't keep his eye on it. He was spending it before he had it. And that ball along the line and a boundary throw in.
That point, there's Matthew Lappin in the coach book. That point about Collingwood and the look of them. I mean, the tackling stats is one measurable stat. They had 30 tackles in the first half. I mean, normally on a good day they might have 80. So they're just the defensive pressure. They just aren't able to get the run and the energy out of them at the moment.
So Hampson gets the free. Long ball in. Waite doesn't quite get the crack at it. Well done, Maxwell. Got it over to Thomas, to Keefe. Lovely kick to side bottom. Talked about the last goal being important. Collingwood got it. The next is massive, you feel. It's a 3.5 goal game at the moment, but Collingwood coming back. Thomas running hard. Awkward kick for Cloak. Back to Daisy. Remember, it was Thomas that ignited them last Saturday night after half-time. Boundary throw in.
You see the tackle stats there, and again, that's really the statistical indication of effort and energy, and Collingwood aren't getting the numbers that they had been getting the last couple of years.
Hampson laid it down. Side bottom did well to Wellingham. Across half forward, and the mark is taken by Jolly. Now, he's normally a pretty good kick at goal. Nobody stands the mark. Doesn't worry him. Goes to the pocket. Well, not sure about that either. That is a tight angle for Dawes.
Well, that was really confusing there. Barrett he's caught in no man's land. You just see him there. He's actually trying to work out whether he should have gone to Jolly in the first place, and then surely should have had the awareness to know that Dawes was behind him.
Somehow or other, there was 3 Collingwood players to 1 Carlton defender in that part of the field. Someone got messed up in the defensive matchups by Carlton.
But given Bauer's confusion, Jolly could have run at him and probably kicked from about 40 metres out. Well, as it is, Dawes misses.
Bauer just had to commit to one. At least, make Collingwood force an error as opposed to give it away.
Yeah, well, normally you'd give away the man on the angle, wouldn't you, deep in the pocket?
No doubt.
He sort of got trapped in no man's land. Here's Tui, like him a lot, which is almost a guarantee he'll do something foolish here as he kicks straight down the middle. In from the side, Cruiser just helps the ball on its way. Lucas ditto, and those back leads from those speedsters. Here we go again. We've seen this before. Garland. Oh, hit the post halfway up. He should have kicked it. When they take off, it's like a track meet, isn't it?
Marty Clark was on his back when he went into the open goal. He was on his back again. He thought, oh, well, I'm in trouble here.
Well, they're best at it, Carlton, scoring from their goals. And it's a pretty predictable play, to be honest. A long kick down. Just need to be goal side as a defender on that occasion.
What they've done, more and more sides are doing it on the kick-ins, is holding forwards back.
Yep.
So if you can get the ball through the middle of the ground, you usually have a forward 50 player that has got no opponent.
Carlton at the moment of Jamaica, aren't they? And Collingwood or Australia in the relay. Judd. And now getting down low, Robinson, Curnow, Wellingham, Cruiser brilliantly, just barges. Well done, Wellingham though. Now with Wood, and Wood squeezes it out. Good effort there in the front by Fasolo. Tui again got down low. Remember that first quarter? Well played to Murphy. Good in heavy traffic normally, and then Clark boundary throw in.
Coming through Tui, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's coming through. He's becoming a good player.
The basic skills of the game. We've commented on how well he kicks the ball, but his positioning into a contest, sliding in, outstanding.
And that lady's cheek was Dennis, and I thought for a moment, then I looked at it was number 27 for Armfield. I thought for a moment, your fame is spreading. Well played, Blair.
I knew I wasn't number 27, Bruce, so it ended quickly for me. Here's Scotland taken down by Dawes, who somehow wrested the ball from him. Bauer knocks it back in there, and we'll have a ball up.
29, Dennis?
23, the sexiest number in sport. You know that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all over the world
Michael
now.
Jordan, Michael Clark.
I might have been the first, actually.
Dennis Cometti.
Unsexy then. They gave it to Schmoes. Murphy tries to get through the pack. He's got it now, flicks a hand pass away. There's no Schmo. He puts it out in front of number 27, did Judd. Armfield dragged down, high ball floats inside the forward 50. Waite hit the ball hard, knocks it outside the 50, wheels around deliberately, places onto the boot. Curnow with a bit of time, and Betts this time hangs on. How long can Collingwood hold?
It's a clever kick by Curnow. A lot of players in that situation will just blaze away and kick the long point. Just drop the eyes. Waite's been fantastic, presents all day. Clever kick also from Waite, doesn't quite hit the target. But just watch Curnow here, sums up the situation, just pulls the kick at the last minute.
One thing I would say about Waite, I reckon Franklin is the only key position player who's more agile.
Yep.
He's very agile at ground level.
Margin of 23 then. Lost 22 at half-time. Betts kicks accurately. He's got 4 now. Gotta say, he's in some of the best form of his career. Those marks last week, so dangerous on the forward line again. Well suited to the wide expanses of the MCG. Curnow was very clever. A very deliberate kick going in. And now Collingwood find themselves again trailing by close to 5 goals. You just wonder how many times they can keep coming back. The next goal vital in the context of this game.
So what a night in Melbourne. Massive crowd at the MCG. The two great rivals in Australian footy going hard at it. And a team that hasn't beaten the other for a fair while has a big edge at the moment. Betts with 4 equals his best ever against Collingwood. Judd has been magnificent. Kicks the ball to half forward. Jamieson and Maxwell. Jamieson gets back. Oh, this will hurt. But he doesn't kick the goal.
Thought he was a forward.
Yep, the check side misses
the check side kick.
Well, he's only kicked Jamieson on. How many games has he played? He's played 72 and he's only kicked 1 goal in his career, Jamieson. So the chances are that he gets a bag tonight are probably thin. Dawes. Judd got him for a bit. Dawes' handball under pressure and a boundary throw in. It's hard to see Collingwood getting back, isn't it?
Yeah, no, they just look like they've, except they're still blunted, largely blunted Carlton scoring. They've only scored 4 goals since quarter time.
Carrazzo emerges with the football to Gibbs. Back to Carrazzo. Loops it over the top. Scotland. Gets clear. What a beautiful kick. Oh, missed by Garlett. They do some strange things, those two little forwards. Exciting, but they make even the regulation exciting and sometimes downright disappointing for their fans. Here's Cloak on the wing, searching kick inside the forward 50. Gibbs. Oh, what a terrific mark. Needs to be precise with the kick. Gets it there in time. Simpson across half back. Running hard for him on the far side is Jamieson. Well, that was too easy. Maxwell, I think, is feeling the pinch. He just ran away from Maxwell there.
Both Jamieson and Maxwell playing their first AFL games this season, but I think Jamison's probably had a bit more in the VFL than Maxie. Yeah. So Keefe had a win there. Back to Thomas. Daisy's been okay, but he hasn't been great, and they need someone to be great right now. Kicks the ball into the centre to Swan. Had a very good first half. Goes back to Pendlebury. We know he's been quiet tonight, but we know what a champion he is. Now side bottom loading up with a long ball. Well done at the back by Laidler.
I reckon there is a real Gavin Brown stamp on the Carlton defence at the moment. We saw Gibbs outmark, I think it was Swan before. The work Laidler did on Jolly, a much stronger opponent.
Good effort by Cloak there. Curnow going back.
He's been good Laidler like that, isn't he? He can play on a medium sizer, but he's sort of not out of his depth in those marking contests against tall players.
Clean possession to Jolly. Ball taken across the line by Sinclair.
Speak about Jeremy Laidler, was mentored by Darren Milburn for years at Geelong for the 4 years that he was there, and a lot of one-on-one work with Darren.
Judd camped in front of the pack. Wellingham. Judd was his idol. Well, he decided to hand pass, then got a boot to it. Judd, his idol, takes him across the boundary line.
Straight at Geelong, Laidlaw, he'd probably be a regular part of their back six now.
Yeah, he would be.
Well, he popped his knee, didn't he? Dislocated it in the NAB Cup against a big man, Minson, body to body, and that's his role. He just battled again there down in the goal square against a taller opponent. That requires a bit of stability down there with those knees. We've got a ball up 45 metres out. 75 plays 47. Last man up is Shaw. Judd, who started on fire tonight, just hanging back off the pack. Pendlebury, who started very slowly, working his way back into it. Untidy kick from Bauer, goes out of bounds on the full.
That was a get the ball out of my area kick, wasn't it? Just get the ball out of my area.
So here's Clark. Just pops it over the top, and Eddie takes the mark. He's doing it everywhere. Eddie is making Eddie's night a nightmare. It comes up towards the wing, and the mark is taken by Waite.
And then Waite with a lovely kick forward to Simpson, trying to open them up. Jamieson, he goes back to Murphy. We know he's a lovely long kick. Goes across to Yaron, who takes the mark.
Good use.
Well, it opened up for Carlton. There were 2 or 3 options in the end. And Yaron, who's a goal-kicking half-back, we know that. Interesting, Murphy just having a chat, the runner to him. That was a great cut-off by Betts. As Dennis said, he's probably the most famous Eddie out there tonight right now. Certainly. Eddie did you a favour today, didn't he, Lynn?
What was that?
The other Eddie.
He did, yes.
Oh.
So Yaron, 45 metres out, straight in front. Good kick. So Carlton get away now. I think he might have come up with a ticket or 2 that's made Lee's life even better. Well, his grandchildren. All good stuff. All good stuff. No, we're talking about the hottest band in the world right now.
Oh,
so
One Direction.
That's it. And right now, Carlton are going in one direction, aren't they?
Yeah. Where did that band come from, incidentally? It's out of the blue.
Just see Luke Ball there on the boundary, tracksuit on, obviously not coming on back in this game, and just really compounds the problem for Collingwood. They look out on their feet, and certainly rotations will be down.
81 plays 47. Hampson on the way down. Fingertips to it. Carranzo, Murphy. Gee, these on-ballers now really racking up the stats. Judd has almost gone into resting mode. Cruiser had the ball. O'Brien gets back, lays it off to Maxwell. Maxwell straight to Lucas. Judd wants it short. It's still on, but Lucas...
Long to wait, just get it in there.
Yeah. Goes long in that direction. Wade hangs off the pack. It was well played by Keefe. Denied him the run. Opportunity for goal sack. Taken by Cruiser. Grabbed down there by Tuvey. Marked by Scotland against his old team. And what a player he's become for the Blues.
Hasn't that kick happened a couple of times, Lee? Just the chop out of defence, blind kick. Carlton's defensive structures away from the ball have been outstanding. You just see it here, blaze away, didn't even look.
Against centre corridor, at least we mentioned that one of Bowers, but at least it went out of bounds, so at least it was a wide kick back.
24 possessions. He had 14 in the first term. His career high is 41 in 07. Steps to the 50. Kick is on the way, and he kicks the ball pretty well too. Bit unlucky there. Hit the post 3/4 of the way up.
Become a really good attacking halfback. He was on the fringe of All-Australian last year. He was right in that final mix in the short list. He really is having a good late in his career, but he's playing really well, Scotland.
So Garland hit the post as well. Good kick coming out of the back there by Clark. Pendlebury. Blair. Quickly on. So Carlton still haven't quite put Collingwood away here. Lovely kick out wide by Shaw. What a spectacular mark he took to kick the goal. Clark running hard for Thomas. And then looking up forward for Solo, a target. Good mark. Well done in front of Tui. Is that a good night, Tui?
Back here, Mark, back here. Zach, back 1 minute. That's it there. You're right there.
And for Solo's a long kick. Can he get enough on it? Kicks the ball right to full forward. Swan at the front back. And then Armfield. And off hands for a behind. So Collingwood up to 7-6 only. And Carlton 12-10.
Those medium defenders, or those small defenders, even Armfield, he's good in the air, Swan, but Armfield was strong enough to push back, made sure he didn't mark it.
That was great defence, wasn't it? And popping on a gammy leg, perhaps. A sore leg. Hampson took a very good mark to Murphy. Murphy suddenly everywhere. Sends it down towards half forward and Wait to the middle. The track meter's on again. Over the top from Garlett this time. Just gives one of the big guys a scrap. And I think he's skinned it through. Behind.
Three neat eyes in the back of your head. Didn't that remind you of Shaw and Rewald in the grand final a couple of years ago?
Short one from O'Brien to the pocket now. Well, that came off the knee by the looks of it.
Right, get the foot at it.
What do you think, Tommy? Doesn't matter what you think, really. It's behind. I mean, it matters to me because I asked.
Thank you.
Below the knee, is that a goalie? Below the knee?
Below the knee, yes. I'm not sure the point of the knee. The knee cap, I'm not sure about, Tommy.
Well, the goal umpire, no hesitation. He wasn't messing around. A good game was a fast game. Ball comes up towards the wing. Simpson slips a hand pass across to Gibbs. Gibbs to Simpson. Too nimble for Wood. Not too nimble for Sidebottom. Taken by Cruiser. Comes back to Gibbs. They retreat. And they'll build again. Bauer has a bounce. Laidler the strong shepherd. Bauer 70 metres out eventually. Kicks into Wood. Opportunity in defence then for Shaw. Slips a hand pass away to Maxwell. Was it Beams? Beams it was. Pushed across the line. There's Dawes and it's out of bounds.
Yeah, mate, Chris Judd snuck off the bench, Dennis.
Un-Australian, Lee. I know what you're saying. It's un-Australian. I'll speak to him.
Above the knee, Dennis, just in case we want to get back to that.
That was a goal then.
So Simpson quickly forward. O'Brien with Betts. Gee, Eddie's so quick. Tuvey to Shaw. Shaw along the line. Sinclair a target. Laidler, good effort. Sinclair at the back. Thomas look away. Well done. Cloak has to get it on in a hurry. Didn't get the angle he wanted. Wanted to get it inside the 50. Bouncing ball. Murphy's been superb. How good has Gibbs been tonight? And then Henderson to Laidler. And then Laidler to Curnow. Now Judd's over the top. He goes to Judd. Now Judd can go over the top again. Goes back, clever enough. Carazzo back to Judd. Judd puts the burners on for a moment. Not a great kick, floating forward. Keefe and Waite, just a little bit too pretty there. And then O'Brien and Betts takes it off him. And for the first time in his career, he gets 5 against the Pies.
Well, they're being run ragged down there now. The little guys are just finding space.
Dennis, is he? I mean, for many years, Milne's probably been the #1 small forward in the game. 52 goals. I know we've had Lacroix and Popley. He's probably just about the #1 small forward in the game now.
I tell you what, Bruce, he is tonight.
Yeah, he is tonight. Yeah, I'm that sort of guy. I'm for the moment.
Yeah, let's jump
He'll
on
do me
board
right now.
It's just been too slippery for Harry O'Brien at ground. When Mick Malthouse and myself put our 18s together pre-season, he liked Harry O'Brien in his best 18, but because he said he can play on all different sizes and shapes, but Betts has been just too slippery tonight.
Who's your small forward right now?
On the form at the moment, Betts, yep.
So if you're picking an
Rioli may be still on bed of all of them, but of the goal kickers, certainly Betts.
Judd again getting involved, and then Scotland's long ball. Waite always a chance, and Waite's going to kick another one, and this Carlton team are flying away now. Tell you what, Dennis, we've got a new favourite for the flag after tonight. They were equal favourites, Collingwood, Carlton, Hawthorn and Geelong. When the bookies frame the markets at midnight tonight, the Blues will be favoured.
Amazing. So much made of the big 3 coming into the season. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a big 4 now. Well, maybe still a big 3, but one may have slipped out.
Might be a team over in Perth too that back themselves in. We can analyse footy as much as we want sometimes, but when there are more numbers around the ball and the players are actually closer to the ball, you win the ball and you get the ball forward. And that's what Carlton have done all night. So every time we've had a still shot, they've just been closer to the footy, getting numbers around the footy.
Towards the wing. Armfield reaches over the top of Thomas.
Oh, good play.
He's been so strong. He's well grounded when he sets himself. He's very hard to move, and then he runs 40 metres to just...
He was just setting himself.
He was. He wanted to test that leg.
Run too far.
As you say, Tom, it is a glorified game of keeping it off. And it's easier if you've got more numbers to keep it off. And I often used to say to players, there's Eddie not having a good night at the footy. If you've got more of your jumper in the TV screen,
that's exactly the way
a pretty good way to win the contested footy.
Yeah, exactly the way we were taught as well. Just get the numbers on the screen and the TV.
I think Ed is a realist too. He knows this week could be very difficult in a number of respects. Robinson to Cruiser. People love second-guessing football teams, particularly Collingwood. Judd working out there with Armfield. Eventually it comes across to Robinson. Robinson, long kick, and Hampson takes the mark.
I reckon Sean Hampson on the 3 games this year is the most improved player in the competition. The way he can push forward and actually take a physical mark, he's been outstanding. And they've got Warnock in the wings. And
he's one of the handful of ruckmen who looks like marking the ball out from goal. Nananui's like that, Cox is like that, but there's not too many of the 200-centimetre blokes can take 2 or 3 marks to have shots at goal from close in.
Queenslander then, kicking from 15 metres out. The rout is officially in.
I'm not suggesting for a moment that Hampson's in Otten's class, but that was one of Otten's great gifts, wasn't it? Yeah. Fantastic ruckman, but when, you could rely on him maybe to kick a goal and a half a match, an important goal or 2 in a big match. And I agree with Tom, and Hampson's really stood up.
What do they do with Warnock, Bruce?
I don't know, because I don't think you can play Warnock, Cruz and Hampson, and right now I don't think you have to play Warnock. I mean, Walker does have to come back, I think.
Yeah.
But what a lovely place to be.
Hampson.
Really interesting, this centre bounce. Look at the leap of Cruiser. He's just been jumping a hand higher than Jolly tonight.
So the Blues get to 100 here, 101 to 48. They've absolutely blown Collingwood out of the water. Robinson out wide. And as we said, at midnight tonight, there'll be a new favourite for the flag. And they'll be wearing the blue. Pendlebury got it off Murphy. And then Sinclair. So coming tonight, Hawthorn, Collingwood, Carlton and Geelong were all at $5 to win the premiership.
Well, the point, I mean, Collingwood will get good players back, but they're now 1-2. So, you know, they've got a bit of work to actually make sure they do finish right up in that top 4.
Particularly if West Coast are going to be involved because of those home finals in September. Great tackle, and then Judd toe pokes. Ball comes out the back. Blair into the back.
Mark's there. Stay out, Mark. Jeremy!
So Collingwood hadn't lost 2 games last year until the final round of the home and away.
Remember, they had a percentage of 167. I mean, that's massive. There's sort of almost no one else in about the last 30 or 40 years that's done that.
I mean, your memory goes, but I reckon they were 20 wins and 1 loss going into that match against Geelong in round 24 because of the 2 byes last year. And here they're going to be 1-2. And Carlton, last time they were 3-0. 1995, and they went on to win the flag, and Brett Ratton was best and fairest that year.
And they had a dominating 95, and they had lost a couple of games themselves that year.
To St Kilda and Sydney, who were both way out of the 8.
Jolly could have almost got a free there. Cruiser comes again. It's Garlett, who was standing away from the pack. Gathered by Shaw, kicks inside the forward 50. Off hands, wide, opportunity for Solo, and again tries to flick it out. Blair's got it, Gibbs has got him, and we're down to 17 seconds.
Come on. From Collingwood's point of view, they've got half a dozen, you know, Didak, they've got now Tarrant, their big defenders, Tarrant and Reid. They could be much better, I reckon, than they are at the moment, though.
Deep in the pocket, Thomas. Gee, that's a good effort.
Oh.
That is a marvellous kick. Didn't expect that one. Collingwood break the run of goals. The last 5 goals had come from Collingwood's opposition.
And Lee, on that point, I mean, the guys that aren't playing tonight, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, he's important for them.
Alan Didak, who you just wonder, don't you?
Hasn't had a great year or two, but he's still much more capable, say, than young Sinclair.
Yeah.
If you just make a 1-for-1.
And then Nathan Brown and Chris Tarrant are the 2 defenders.
Yeah, and Ben Reid, of course, is not there tonight.
So there's some upside, isn't there?
Oh, big difference. And Nick Maxwell's only playing his first game for the year. So, I mean, there's a lot of upside in Collingwood, no doubt about that.
I think the biggest thing tonight is that Pendlebury's had no impact at all, has he? I mean,
a bit better this quarter, but hasn't been in the game like he normally is.
So Thomas's rather remarkable goal. In fact, Collingwood have had 2 great goals in this quarter. I mean, Shaw's effort and Thomas's effort. But Carlton have just played one of the best quarters of footy they've ever played under Brett Ratton. They have put Collingwood to the sword here in the 3rd term. They were superb, and at 3/4 time, surely they have set up a match-winning lead. A lot for Bucks to think about. Friday night, Friday the 13th at the G. It's Carlton 101 to Collingwood 54.
Well, Dennis, we concentrated pre-game on 2 and 2, the 2 superstars in each of their midfields, but really everybody knows it's about the depth. And when you consider that, you know, Carazzo's had a great game as well tonight, played on Pendlebury. Robinson's been going into the middle. Curnow, Scotland, Lucas and Simpson have all been doing their bit tonight. They really have now got that premiership-type depth about them, Carlton. And they've been so impressive all night, not just in that 3rd quarter, but all night. And still some injury concerns with Collingwood. Just getting back to Luke Ball, it now appears that it may be the medial, which would be a 4-week injury. But if it's the PCL, he might be looking at 8 weeks on the sidelines.
Thanks, mate.
And thanks for that, Tim. So some serious concerns for Luke Ball and for Collingwood here tonight. Trailing by 47 points, an 8-goal margin to Carlton. And Thomas getting the last goal of that 3rd quarter. So they've been irresistible tonight, the Blues. They started brilliantly, a 7-goal opening term. Carazzo getting it from Lucas and then out wide. Goldsack to Shaw, and then Shaw down the line to Dawes. Free kick against Jamieson.
Hand in the back.
Gave away the free kick, but it was actually probably a confidence booster with the way he got to the ball there.
And Dawes needs a confidence booster, not Jamison right now. He kicked 1 goal, Dawes. It was a beauty, but he just hasn't had the presence. Tui, well done. And then Cloak fending off, cleverly done to Wellingham. Didn't go far enough. Wellingham quickly onto the boot. Wood, Laidler, still with Wood. Just threw it out a bit to Swan. That's a good kick by Swan. It was going to go through, but cutting it off is Gibbs, who's just been so neat all night, and finds Simpson. So Simpson in the back half. Dangerous kick, but Yaron has had a cameo night tonight. That's not a good kick. Almost cut off by Dawes. Jamison defended well. Over the top of Armfield. Back to Wellingham. Wellingham sweeps the handball. Dawes to Shaw. And then Shaw kicks to the top of the square. Wood and Gibbs. Oh, he's a good player, Gibbs. He can beat the bigs and he can beat the smalls.
Yeah, he's good, but Wood, you've got to use your 200 centimetre height and bulk better than that against a sort of relative medium sizer.
Lee, what do you think of the Wood-Jolly combination?
I don't think it's working. And that's partly because Jolly's not... He's just not getting off the ground, and they've basically got 2 ruckmen, not forward ruckmen, but 2 ruckmen in their same 18.
So Bauer back to Simpson. Gee, Simpson was good. To Judd, to Curnow, Garlett. So much to like about this Carlton setup now. And Garlett with a long ball. Waite sets himself. O'Brien. Well done. Keefe. Around the corner, Swan used the body pretty well. Scotland got down loud. Lovely hands to Carazzo. Carazzo neat. Gets it to Bauer. Bauer's got Yaron running. Dawes knows that. Now, does Yaron take him on? No, he'll go back.
Chris, Mark's here.
He'll try and run around him. He may kick this all the way, Yaron.
It's a good setup here. Andrew Carazzo flicking the ball out to the fat side. If you could take one lead, would you take Yaron or Heath Shaw right now for your team?
I'd still take Heath Shaw, I think, right now, but Yaron is certainly getting better and better as that attacking defender. I think Shaw defends a little better.
Second season cross half back for Yaron. High, long, not quite. Maxwell, so to Swan. Swan in the back half. Down the line. Wood. Gibbs has had 1 victory against him. Wood juggles that one and takes them.
Got to take those 10 metres out from goal. That's when they really count.
Wellingham involved with Goldsack, and eventually Turvey up towards the wing. Crumb there by Blair. Jabs it forward. Oh! Trying to do the right thing. Dawes copped the hip, I think, there from Thomas. Dawes tried to sort of pull out of the contest. He was coming up and could have flattened his teammate. There's our man Dygan. He's on the ground. Good to see him back to... Played 22 games last season, 22 of a possible 24. The 2 he missed because of a calf injury midway through the season. Lucas has been subbed off. So Dawes trying to do the right thing. Copped one. Over the football, Carazzo, who's been wonderful tonight. Murphy, ditto. Gibbs, almost ditto. Goes down towards half forward, and the mark is taken by Waite. Wonderful, and then there's very good. Waite. Like an Andalusian, just prances away to his left and pops it about 15 metres. Bauer to Murphy. They're just toying with Collingwood now.
Got a couple of extra in there, forward 50, or in their back 50, Collingwood. That's why Carlton have to be a bit patient and try and set it up, find their way through.
Henderson. Too nimble there, runs away from Wellingham. Miscues with a kick, but lacks a fortune. Betts put his ample chest in the road and took the mark.
I don't think he's really confident anywhere near the 50-metre line, Eddie Betts. He sort of looks like he's about a 49-metre kick.
He wanted to go there, and he almost... Harry O'Brien's on the mark, and he'd attempt to talk to the umpire. He's let the door open. Just what he certainly was thinking about playing on.
So for number 6. There's around to his right, going for distance, hangs up, hasn't got the carry. It was online. Good mark. Maxwell in the hands.
Terrific grab by the skipper.
Come through the golden point post.
Did his ankle pre-season. Apparently he had a pretty good pre-season up to then. So some conditioning there. He's held on pretty well. I mean, once Reid went, there was huge pressure on this defence. Fasolo misses it. And then Carazzo's just been so good again tonight with all the publicity coming in. Scotland got it from Simpson to Waite. It's a different cat weight, isn't he? He's an unusual, effective player.
Stay, Harry!
So hard to match up on
I think he's a bit of a touch player. So when he's in form, he's really good. But when things aren't going well, he can mistime his leap and mistime his hands. But at the moment, he's in good shape.
They missed him last year, didn't they? There's no question about it. Gee, that's an ambitious kick to Dygan. It will come off, though, I think. Gibbs on the end of it. About 60 metres from goal. Back to Henderson. Collingwood with numbers. Henderson clever again. And then a lovely-looking kick to the top of the square. Cruiser front spot. Murphy's got to get another one. Well played, Carlton.
That's the classic. Running harder, getting there first, getting the goal. Murphy's done that a couple of times tonight. Ball falls free. And invariably tonight, the first man on the scene has been wearing navy. 107 plays 54. So they've served notice tonight. I think their motto was a couple of years ago, we're coming. Well, I think tonight might be the night they arrived.
This passage of play would make Nathan Buckley's skin absolutely crawl. It's just not hard enough to play against. Carlton had the ball across the centre. They were chipping the ball around, giving Collingwood ample time to set up defensively, but to put in the ball like that and ultimately walk through an uncontested goal, just not good enough.
Murphy running hard. Can he go for a third goal? It's long, not quite. Gee, what about Cruiser a moment ago? His contest to create that for Murphy in the goal square was fantastic.
We got some great ruckmen in the game, and Natanui and Cox, but Cruiser is just looking better and better as this season's wearing on, when he's really now their main ruckman.
Well played, Simpson, just cutting Swan off there. And then Swan with Simpson. Armfield goes back to Scotland. And then Scotland to Carazzo. Two of the best players on the ground, those two. Kick inside, and Betts has just been brilliant. He's kicked 5, should have kicked probably 7, I think.
This is clinical, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's all been played in one half, isn't it?
It was a little bit like Carlton Lions last week. As soon as the Lions dropped off, and that's what Collingwood have done tonight, they've got a couple of players, so they got 20 rotating against Carlton's 21, but as they're fatigued a little bit, they have just been completely demolished.
So is this just a bad night for Collingwood? Do you reckon there's alarm bells already in 2012?
There has to be a little bit of alarm bells, but I think as soon as the side drops off the pace, a good side can really demolish them, and Carlton are a very good side, but certainly warning bells for Collingwood.
So Robinson from 50. So right now, I mean, at the start of the year, all of us would have had Collingwood in the top 4, wouldn't we? Yep. Everybody would have said Collingwood top 14. Lee, I'm looking at you.
Right at the moment, they'd be the most likely of the top 5 to not be there. But, hey, it's a long way to go.
They'll come back.
It's early days.
They'll come back, no doubt about that. But some basics need to be addressed, and that's just being harder to play against at the contest and also ultimately in the back half.
Pendlebury hesitated, went back to Shaw. Here comes to Clark. Clark out against the boundary line, gives this plenty of air. Good mark, especially when you consider who was coming towards him. Beams hung on. Dygan was bearing down. So Beams just jabs it forward. It's hard to sort of see that this game is the same game we started watching about an hour and a half ago. No tempo to it at all now. Yaron, Judd, Waite. Men on to the outer side if he wants to use them. Now we've got...
I think it was a throw, Dennis, against Yaron.
Oh, okay.
Out of zone,
Players oblivious to all of that. So it wasn't umpire Farmer who paid it. It was an umpire out of zone. Kick goes down inside the forward 50. Big leap at the back from Jolly when the ball goes out of bounds. So really, the big forwards just haven't been productive tonight at all for Collingwood. Dawes has tried hard. Cloak has barely been seen. Full credit to Henderson.
So they've got a lot of good players tonight. And there's Pendlebury, Dygan.
Yep.
Back to Jamison. So they're the two new blokes tonight. Henderson's been good with that little move. And then Gibbs, who reads it so well. Well played by Jamison too. Gibbs goes long. Swan takes the mark. So the Brownlow medalist from last year. Judd was favourite, remember, to win a third Brownlow last year. And it was Swan who got a record number of votes. And now O'Brien. Off a step. Well played by O'Brien. Neat kick, well played. Well, just too long in the end. I thought Cloak had it. It was too tall for him. Henderson. Dygan to Scotland. Spreads it to Bauer. Bauer, a cheeky bounce. Back to Scotland. Gee, I'd hate to be picking the best player tonight.
What about the disposal differential? Sounds pretty impressive. 352 to 288. Carlton on top for those who just tuned in. Here's Dygan again. As across the ground finds Scotland. Hugs the boundary. Taken by Curnow. Good to see Dygan getting a lot of the football. Play him at a form right here.
And Dennis, on that disposal differential, Carlton also lead the tackle count. Often when you see a side get absolutely smashed, they have the tackle numbers up, but they've dominated Collingwood in every possible statistic.
Jamison finds Henderson. Comes to Gibbs. It goes short to Yaron, and Yaron is at right half back.
Betts running hard for him. Tom, I know you are giving the best player tonight. I mean, how long is the list for Carlton? I mean, there must be half a dozen blokes running through your mind.
Well, Judd started the game off exceptionally well. Betts has kicked 5 goals. Bryce Gibbs playing an unbelievably selfless team role across half-back, and Andrew Carrazzo's nullified arguably the best player in the competition.
Armfield, centre wing. Murphy's had a fair night as well with a couple of them.
Has he had a lazy 33?
Lazy.
So Yaron piercing the ball through the centre to Dygan, and then Dygan out wide to Robinson, almost a collision. Takes Sinclair on. Scotland made very few mistakes tonight, and now they gang tackle.
Can I put
that ball's not coming out.
It'd take a long time to find a Collingwood player, wouldn't you? I mean,
you
would
would.
be the best.
Collingwood team tackle.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, the best 8 or 10 players on the ground are probably Carlton players.
Scotland's coming up for 33. So 14 in the first quarter, I think Dennis told us.
Good kick.
That's a long ball in and then belted through for a bottom line.
Just had a look at the seats behind the goals there. There would have been, you know, close enough to 90,000 here tonight, and you have to say the black and white were marching out 5 minutes before the third quarter.
So Murphy tops all comers 33, Scotland 33, Judd 32. But as he's inclined to do, Chris Judd, he can drift out of a game when he thinks his work is done. Jamison controls it nicely. Telling kick. Betts surrounded by tall timber. Got hands to it.
How do we classify Betts as a key position player? Because he's actually getting the ball kicked at him and to him fairly regularly. I mean, he's been really dangerous, hasn't he?
Pendlebury just out of sorts there, missing that mark on replay. Here's Judd, who snaps and kicks a goal. Well, so much for taking time off.
Well, it's ridiculous to say that he's in career best form, Judd, because it's such a career, but his first 3 matches this year have been very much like he played for most of last year. We talked about his great record against Collingwood. Every time in the last half a dozen matches that he's had 30 disposals, he's actually got the 3 Brownlow votes. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what round 3 does for the Brownlow for Judd this year. But this has been a bitter defeat for Buckley and for Collingwood.
It's been fantastic, hasn't he been? Judd has had 17 contested possessions, 11 clearances, 33 disposals. That's his first goal, but he's done everything else.
He's kicked 4 goals this year. The most he's kicked for Carlton is 15 in the season. Prolific, of course, as a young player at the Eagles in that area, but what a player he is. Dygan pushing forward. G. Cruiser, clever. Back to the Shaw, cuts it off with a running bounce and then looks up for Dawes. Really struggling Dawes at the moment. Dygan, gee, hasn't he done well since he's come on? Out to Murphy. And then Murphy back inside to Curnow. So Andrew Walker to come back in the next couple of weeks. Robbie Warnock will be getting nervous.
What's that stat of yours, Bruce? There's always a team that comes from the bottom half, bottom 8 last year and finishes top 4 the following year.
Yep.
Almost a statistical fact.
Well, last year it was West Coast who went from bottom to 4th place. His side bottom.
There's Blair. Interesting watching Nick Dygan. He's really pushing himself, realising this is a terrific opportunity to get some match practice in. Took off deep into the forward line moments ago. Swan comes to Jolly, to Thomas. Thomas. A little chip to the wing, side bottom.
We'll get a good test of Carlton here also because they've been beaten comprehensively by Collingwood in the past. And this is an opportunity really to put the foot on the jugular and make a statement.
Side bottom. Kicks it to where only one man could mark it. That's Wood. He's 55 metres out. Plays on. Very close to Judd. It affected the kick. It floats down towards full forward. Missed by Dawes. Taken by Sinclair. He snaps and misses. 116 plays 55. A lot of hype about this game, but really Collingwood, after the poor start, never on terms.
And Lee, how quickly can a team like Collingwood become a very good team again after, you know, a performance like this tonight? I mean,
well, they clearly can, but there's certainly no certainty of any of that stuff. I mean, the fact is your confidence and your form, you know, it just doesn't automatically mean we can turn it on. It's not like, as they say, buying in a shop. They've got a lot of work to do because they are the average over the 3 games to this point. We know they've got some good players out, but they just aren't really getting the performance out there anywhere near what they were for the majority of the last year or two.
So the 14th time these two teams in a home and away have had 80,000 plus, so 84,529 here tonight. Armfield holds up well. Back to Tui. And Tui works his way through to Cruiser, who's been so important, Cruiser, to Simpson. That's clever by Simpson.
He's got to get it again.
To Dygan.
The old 1-2.
Back to Simpson. I feel like he's got endless energy, Simpson. I've never seen him tired. Back to Gibbs. Gibbs normally a good kick. Demands a bit of Murphy. Murphy gets down low and then hooks the ball back, and Marty Clark waits for the bounce to Fasolo.
Just thinking, Bruce, Arizona's out, Qatar's in. That's where they went for their pre-season camp. That's where everybody will be going next year. Qatar, was it Qatar?
The World Cup's there in a few years' time as well.
Fasolo's kick inside the forward 50, and Wood has been paid the mark. Simply too tall there. The man jumped very high. Cloak back to the goal square. Decided height advantage on Tui. He wants the ball out in front. Here he comes. Well, straight through his fingertips. Didn't really touch it. Blair's got it. Snaps at goal. Good looking effort from Blair. And he puts it against the post.
Dennis, I've been dying to get in paraskevidecatria-phobia.
I was hoping you would.
Yeah. And that's the fear of Friday the 13th. Has that got any relevance tonight?
Well, yeah. It has, I guess. It is Friday the 13th. What a silly question.
What's the word again?
Paraskevidecatria-phobia. We've got another Friday the 13th game later on.
That is a first, that one.
Have we?
We do.
God, does that mean Dennis is going to do another opener?
Let's hope so.
I just think keep that one. Oh, well, I suppose the teams will be different. Anything to get out of a bit of work. Ball goes across the ground. Pendlebury. Murphy arrived in the opposite direction. Swan diving in there.
He'll be gone.
It's Robinson, I think, at the base of that.
You must get it out.
Armfield, in fact. Shaw comes across the ground as side bottom. Sends it wide as still to Keefe. There's a lot of navy blue back there. Keefe decides to run it up. He's on the wing now. He kicks to a contest. Pendlebury works in front, as has been the case all night. Carrazzo right there with him, and the ball goes out of bounds.
So great result for Brett Ratton. So have a look at that. Since 1995, they haven't been 3-0 now. They play Essendon next Saturday, and the Bombers are heavy favourites this weekend. And they haven't been 3-0, the Bombers, since 2000, when they won every match but one. So that looks like being a huge match. Beams on the end. Can he get enough on it? Cloak, strong, couldn't quite hold it. Gee, Laidler did well. Swan, those in a scoring position. Does the team thing. Good kick. And side bottom, who's kicked one already, will surely kick a second. So little scraps for Collingwood late. And they like to be at the head table, Collingwood. They don't usually feed on scraps.
I think he might have hit his shoulder there, Cloak.
Stayed out there, Dennis, but he sort of came to the boundary and then stayed out. So side bottom gets a second goal for him tonight.
Tough night for Nathan Buckley. So I guess he's going to give his first ceremonial spray after this game. I think that's expected almost, isn't it, Lee?
Depends if you want to get angry or you want to try and find a way, Dennis, I think.
Looking at him, I think he wants to get angry.
I think tonight it might
That's
be...
enough, Lee. You're saying too much. Sorry, Lee. I suckered you in.
I'll tell you one thing, I think Pendlebury is going to have someone breathing down his neck, because a successful tag of Pendlebury has completely put Collingwood out of business. I mean, Carrazzo's been magnificent what he's done, but everyone will be going to work on that. He'll be now the player that is getting a real hard tag every week.
Curnow, Hampson, well done. Murphy, and Murphy, lovely kick inside, almost the mark taken by Waite down low, and then Yaron is pushed forward, should get a free kick. I'll ask you something about Bucks in a minute, about just this big defeat, just his third game as coach. I mean, as Mickey Moldhouse loses a game like this with 3 premierships behind him, you lose a game like this with 4. I mean, it's got to be harder for him right now. I mean, confidence even for a bloke like...
Yeah, test your self-belief. You're always asking yourself, if the team plays badly, what could I have done? The way we trained, what did I say? That is the coaching dilemma when the team doesn't play well.
Because as good as Bucks has been, he hasn't got runs on the board as a coach, has he?
No. You've also, I guess you've also got that basic situation of
people on the ground.
So I think we've got a
place held up by a few spectators are getting removed from the oval.
And there's something pretty impressive happening on the field. Is the Carlton side actually setting themselves up here? They know there's a stop play. Dygan's pointing to the crowd, to the teammates, orchestrating. Laidler's doing the same. That's a professional outfit out there.
Just saw something of a rarity there. Tackles on the Carlton forward line. What am I saying? On the Collingwood forward line. I think just the one tackle inside their forward 50 from Collingwood tonight. Back to the game.
He's probably going to be ejected for the rest of the year, and if he's a Carlton fan, he's going to miss out on a pretty good year.
So boundary throw in. 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Reaching in there, Curnow. Comes back to Murphy. He polled Brownlow votes in 12 games last year. From what we've seen this season, he's probably already got Brownlow votes in 3 as the ball goes across the ground. Henderson peels off half-back, looks inside the forward 50, back goes Waite, almost, off his fingertips and out of bounds. What a start by the combo of Murphy and Judd. We've seen all 3 games and they have been outstanding. So a throw in with under 2 minutes to go.
Swan couldn't quite. Hampson did well there. Pirouettes out and kicks the goal. Tommy's living up to your big rap as the most improved. He's got 2.
Doing a lot right on and off the field at the moment, Sean Hampson.
We've just got a quick marker through from TAB Sportsbet. Carlton and Hawthorn are $4.50 equal favourites for the flag. Geelong are $5 and Collingwood are out to $6. So Carlton and Hawthorn are the 2 equal favourites for the premiership at this stage.
Well, what we are seeing with Carlton, Bruce, is the system working well. They've got Gibbs and Murphy and Cruiser as top draft picks, and they got the Golden Goose and Chris Judd coming over from the West Coast. But it's a group of players coming through at the same time, at the same age, now all entering near the prime of their careers.
And symbolically, it's a 10-goal match.
Yep.
It's a 10-goal margin here. Have you seen Carlton play a better match in the last sort of decade in a big game like this? They have been outstanding. They were very good against Richmond. They were even better against Brisbane. But this is another beast again in Collingwood. A team that for the last 2 years have been almost unbeatable at times. And yet tonight they've been humbled.
We saw them, I remember a couple of years ago when St Kilda were really flying. Carlton beat them, I think, once with speed.
On a Monday night, they hammered them.
And that's the thing that Carlton have had. And now they're getting more strength, more maturity. A lot of players are in, better than they were 12 months ago. But that common denominator of that really extreme leg speed is something that they've got more than any of the other top 2.
Advantage!
You feel right now they are ripe, aren't they? Everything is just blooming for them. Murphy getting a 1-2.
He's up to 39 now as he comes across the ground to Bauer. Pressure's on Tommy. Bauer runs forward of the wing, comes out wide. Gibbs takes on Thomas. Thomas hasn't done much tonight. The ball goes across the ground. Simpson set himself, courageously went back after it. O'Brien was the first to set up a chain of hand passes that led nowhere. Beams gave it across to a teammate who finds himself, that's Willingham, in a tight situation.
Thank you.
So still to come for the Blues. That's not a run that should frighten them too much. So it's fitting, really. Life mirrors art. Bucks as pale as Robert Pattinson tonight. After all of this, as the ball goes out towards the wing, tracking it back and dominating again. Henderson to Dygan. Dygan puts it out of bounds. Still a bit of rust there.
So they've got the Bombers next week. That shoots. We've actually got them on a Friday night against Freo in a couple of weeks in Perth.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. Fremantle in Perth are going to be tough to beat the way they've started the year.
Gee, Collingwood right now, I mean, brave to pick them against a top 6 team at the moment. And what we've seen tonight.
Did you pick them today, Vince?
No, I thought, well, it's easy to say now. So Collingwood have got Port Adelaide, Essendon, Anzac Day, to Western Bulldogs, Brisbane. That's a pretty good draw, you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they need to be able to sort of get three of those four up to stabilise their year a little.
And get some players back. Blair to Swan. And then Swan with a wobbly old kick to Thomas. In one of those nights has it to side bottom. And Carlton win by 10 goals against the arch enemy. That is sweet. So a great win by Carlton. They set it up early, didn't they? That midfield domination. And they ran Collingwood ragged. As we go down to you, Tim Watson. A fantastic performance. And Tim, you've got a bloke that has just done a mighty job again tonight, hasn't he?
Macca here with Andrew Corazzo. Congratulations. That was a mighty performance by the Blues tonight.
Yeah, it was great. We had a game plan. We stuck to it. We feel like that's the way we've got to play our footy now. Just hard and fast, and we're showing the footy world that we're a contender.
When did you know that you'd be playing on Pendlebury tonight?
I had a fair idea during the week. Obviously, he's been in fantastic form, so just trying to quell him as much as I could and get off him when I can. So I had lots of help from my teammates tonight, which makes a big difference.
What was the major concentration playing on him tonight? What were you trying to do early in the game?
Oh, he's just so dangerous around stoppages. So just have him think about me a little bit and try and quell him when I could.
Is this the best Carlton side you've played in?
I'd say so. We played some great footy last year, but I think we're getting a good solid group now with some really even contributors.
Well done again.
Cheers. Thanks for that.
Good stuff, Tim. As Collingwood leave, I reckon you could argue this is almost the biggest win they've had in the Juddy. I know they won a final last year, but for the build-up for this match,
to beat one of the one of the real trendsetters of the last couple of years, magnificent effort.
Keep our hands up. Woo!